And please start.
Good evening, everyone. So, this is my pleasure, immense pleasure to welcome you all. This is a webinar organized by IFS Central Zone, and our theme is ART in Transition Clinical Practice Meets Regulation. So, we know assisted reproductive technology is evolving tremendously and it is giving hopes to millions of couples. But with the changing era, there are regulatory principles and landscapes which are challenges to the clinicians. So today's webinar is about the how to manage the things to basically mix the clinical practice with the regulatory principles. So we are having the legal experts and panelists of the Fertility Society and the leaders of the IFS. So, now to begin with this session, I would like to invite Dr. Niti Tiwari ma'am to give the introduction to the webinar.
Thank you, Dr.
First, I would like
Yeah.
before that, sorry to interrupt you, ma'am. Before that, am I visible, ma'am?
Yeah. Your screen is visible.
It's just, ma'am, I'm taking a moment to introduce you on the plate. You are the co-director and the Center of IVF and Human Reproduction. I'm Gangaram Hospital, New Delhi. Presented many papers at national
I
conference
think that is
and
okay.
other.
I can introduce myself. It is okay, Jayashree.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
So, a very warm welcome to Central Zone. Uh, we are basically the SIG, Special Interest Group Law and ART. And we are trying to go to different zones and organize webinars so that we also know the problems our clinicians or embryologists are facing as far as it comes to the regulatory concerns. So this SIG is mentored by none other than Dr. Sonia Malik. Dr. Sonia Malik, ma'am, I don't think so needs any introduction. She has been very active in the area of regulations and talking to the authorities, getting things done. She made it's like for example, when they have given us a deadline that you have to finish all the entries within a certain time. She was the one, and many of them, who went and talked to the authorities and got the things delayed so that we can do it. So she's always there in forefront of these, and she has a good connection with the regulatory authorities. So we benefit from her connections. And then this SIG is mentored by Dr. Parag Nandi. Dr. Parag Nandi is basically an embryologist with a very keen interest again in the area of law and ART. He has taken out written material which he will share also, where he talks about the different the regulations and how it has to be interpreted. And today his talk is going to be the embryologist perspective, which is very important. That because we know that embryologists are also not safe from the ART Act. They are equally responsible when it comes to the regulations. And he is going to give us the embryologist perspective. Then I'm the co-convener of this SIG. I can introduce myself that I have done, a course which is called PGDMLE from National Law School, Bangalore, the law school, and I've done a 1 year diploma course. So I also have interest in the area of law and ART. And then we have Advocate Mohini Priya. Advocate Mohini Priya is the advocate of Supreme Court, and she has very keen interest in these areas. And if you people have heard about Arun Muthubal cases, the Arun Muthubal was filing all the PILs and everything. Dr. Advocate Mohini Priya was the one who was helping him out of that. So we have her with us. So this is the SIG of Law and ART. And at the end of this session, you people who are there, you have my number, which is already there in the group. and Dr. Parag Nandis and Dr. Sonia Malik. If you people, any one of you feel that you are more interested in being a part of our SIG group, you are most welcome to join it. We will be doing many activities throughout the year, the 2 years we are there, and then we will have a SIG page also. We will keep posting on that. And most important of it, on behalf of Dr. Sonia Malik, because this thing was very dear to her, that she wanted to tell you all that we are there to help you also if you encounter any regulatory issues, is as far as PCP and DT or ART Act is concerned. We have two advocates on board in our SIG, Advocate Mohini Priya and Advocate Divyanshu, and they are very eager to help you. So, in case anybody needs a help any kind, you are, most welcome to call us, put a mail to us, and we are there to help you. And then I want to thank Dr. Priya Bhave for, she's the most enthusiastic person, when it comes to organizing such webinars, because she's very quick to respond and organizes things very fast. And Dr. Jayashree, who is the moderator today, and Dr. Gunjan, who also helped a lot in organizing this whole webinar. So with this, I welcome you all again.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Uh, Dr. Shweta or Dr. Tina are there. Dr. Parag, would you want to say something? Dr. Parag is the convener of our SIG. Dr. Parag Nandi, before we start the webinar, do you want to say
Say
something?
something. Yeah, good evening, everyone. Myself, Dr. Parag Nandi. Uh, because we need to understand the ART law now. This is a high time because we are practicing every day from morning to night. We are trying to help patients. We are trying to help patients by treating them as well. Their embryos are being nurtured inside the lab, but it is now the microscope magnifies the embryo, but the law magnifies our responsibility. So it is now high time that we need to understand the law because it has been uh, years back, and the time flies like it was just after COVID, and we're facing a new thing already. More than 35 pages have been published. The number is increasing every day, every month, maybe some modifications or and all. So we need to understand that what is going on and what we can do and what we cannot do. Do's and don'ts are very important to practice safely. We are now treating patients as well as we are making say we are making safer embryology lab, as well as we have to make safe ourselves also, like that we are not whether we are not crossing any bar or anything wrong we are doing unknowingly or knowingly. So we have to keep in mind that. So that's why we from IFS we have been trying our best to give the information about the law, what ART and surrogacy law is, and how to operate ART bank and safely and all these things. So we all people as a team are working to make it a more safer arena. Whenever any healthcare law comes in any country, initial days are like this only. It's nothing new. We have to understand because this is where we are going to practice. We are going to help the patients. So this is it. We are trying. So now today's webinar, as already said, like Dr. Sonia Malik ma'am, she's working like a kind of a bridge between us and the government whenever it was needed. And now also she is mentoring our this particular SIG. So today ma'am is not well, but she has confirmed that she would be coming in between. But she has already conveyed her best wishes to start this webinar. And in between, whenever the ma'am will come, and she will be giving her views. And with these words, I think we can go ahead and we can start. One after another good topics would be covered, and this is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Parag. Dr. Jayashree, we can start.
Kindly unmute yourself.
Dr. Jayashree, are you muted? Unmute yourself, Jayashree. Yeah. Okay.
Um, Sorry, ma'am. Am I audible now?
Yeah, yeah, you're audible.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we will moving to the first session. So I would like to introduce our first chairperson, Dr. Sushmita Mukherjee, ma'am. Sushmita Mukherjee, ma'am, doesn't need any introduction. She's a gold medalist, and she has done FICOG, and she's in Indore. She's a well-known name to me when I was doing my DGO from Indore. So I would like to introduce Dr. Sushmita Mukherjee, ma'am. And now
It's okay.
I will
Keep it
invite the.
short. Jayashree, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Keep it short.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi,
Okay,
Dr.
ma'am.
Sushmita. Hi, Dr. Sushmita.
Hi, ma'am.
Good to have you on
How are
board. Yeah, so Jayashree, we can't waste so much time in introducing people. You should
Yes,
have
yes.
made a PPT.
I'm the
You should have made a PPT.
treasurer of MP chapter. So that's all. So let us move on with the topic.
I
Okay,
think the
ma'am. Okay, sorry, ma'am.
other chairpersons you can introduce briefly.
Yes, ma'am. The other person, Dr. Tina Gupta, ma'am, and Dr. Hina Agarwal, ma'am. But I think Dr. Hina, ma'am, has not joined for some reason.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Dr. Tina.
Yeah, good evening.
So you introduce the speaker. Now put the speaker's slide,
Yes, ma'am. And
and the chairpersons can introduce her.
yes, ma'am. I would like to request Dr. Sushmita, ma'am, to introduce Advocate Mohini, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
This is a very, very important webinar, as you can see, and I am honored to introduce our first speaker, Advocate Moini Priya ma'am, and she will be talking on the evolving landscape of ART in India, legislative development, ethical questions, and future reforms. So may I have the CV of madam? Now, I was going through her CV, and I think no one can be better than somebody to talk on such a topic. And she is working for so many issues related to surrogacy, the recent ART law, and the reforms which are going on in these fields. Lot of contribution has come from her with her expertise. So can I have the CV?
Ma'am, is it visible to
No,
you?
it is not visible properly.
Double click it and open it.
It is not visible properly.
Ma'am, just give me a moment.
Dr. Gunjan, can you help her? I think.
I think we can do introduction part and we go to.
Oh,
I think let's
Hi, good evening, everyone. Hi, Dr. Sushmita. How are you?
Yeah, I am fine. Welcome to the webinar. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. After a long time, I am seeing you.
I think we let Dr. Mohini share the screen.
yes.
Mohini, let's not waste time.
Let's start.
Jesse, please try to organize it meanwhile.
My,
Your
Yes,
CVs.
ma'am.
I'm just
Okay,
sharing.
Advocate Mohini here. Can you start sharing? Stop sharing the screen, Jayashree, please.
And please mute yourself.
बोलो मुझे दिक्कत हो जाएगी
Dr. Moini, you are muted.
ऐसे करो
I would request everyone to mute themselves while the speaker speaks, please.
Is there?
Actually, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Mohini madam, you have to unmute yourself.
Ma'am, shall I try once?
If you have the presentation, you share.
Hey, I think she will be able to do it. अभी हो जाएगा बस. Just let's wait.
मैंने रोक दिया
Actually, the screen is visible only partially. That's the problem. That's why I couldn't read the entire CV properly.
Open one slide show.
Yeah, now it is okay.
How is the
Just
chart?
make it full screen.
Yeah,
Make it full screen. Yeah.
Is it visible now?
Yeah, great, great. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so let's start. Sorry for this. So our topic for today is the evolving landscape of assisted reproductive technology in India, the legislative developments, ethical questions, and the future of reproductive law. So when we speak about assisted reproductive technology, we usually begin with science, IVF, ICSI, egg freezing, donor gametes, embryos, genetic testing. But today I want to begin somewhere else. I want to begin with a simple question, which is who decides how a family may be created? Is it the doctor? Is it the state? Is it the couple? Is it the woman? Is it the genetics? Or is it ultimately the Constitution? Because ART today sits at a very fascinating intersection of medicine, technology, family, ethics, and fundamental rights. And India is at a particularly interesting moment in that journey. So until recently, ART in India was predominantly governed through professional standards and the ICMR framework. The ICMR guidelines were important and pioneering, but India did not have a comprehensive parliamentary statute regulating ART clinics and banks. That changed fundamentally with the Assisted Reproductive Technology Regulation Act 2021, which came into force on 25th January 2022, followed by the ART rules in June 22 and ART regulations in 2023. And that brings me to the first part of today's discussion, which is ART from a medical practice to a regulated ecosystem. So the biggest change after 2021 was not simply that IVF had become regulated. The bigger change was that reproductive medicine became part of a statutory governance architecture. So earlier, the relationship was primarily patient, doctor, and clinic. Today, it is patient, clinic, ART banks, appropriate authorities, state board, national registry. Now, this is a significant structural transformation. The law introduced registration and inspection of ART clinics and banks, statutory duties, record keeping, reporting to a national registry, grievance mechanisms, and sanctions. Registrations operate for 5 years period, and regulatory authorities have inspection and enforcement powers. And there are considerable benefits to this. Like for the first time, ART became something that could be mapped, monitored, and audited nationally. The National ART and Surrogacy Registry now operates as an online public record of registered clinics and banks. That matters enormously because fertility treatment is not simply another commercial medical service. It involves reproductive material, genetic lineage, children yet to be born, emotionally vulnerable patients, and potentially serious medical risks. The second major change is therefore patient protection. Clinic now have statutory obligations to counsel patients about success rates, risks, costs, multiple pregnancies, and consequences of treatment. Confidentiality has statutory protection. Written informed consent is mandatory. Oocyte donors must have insurance coverage during the prescribed period. This is unquestionably progress. Now, the third transformation concerns donor regulation. Donor gametes cannot simply move informally between individuals and clinics. Screening, collection, and supply are channeled through registered ART banks now. So the Act prescribes donor age limits also. Sperm donors must fall within the statutory age bracket of 21 to 55. Oocyte donors between 23 to 35 years. An oocyte donor may donate only once in a lifetime, and a bank cannot supply a single donor's sperm or oocyte to more than one commissioning couple. Again, the objective is understandable, which is to prevent exploitation, prevent uncontrolled genetic proliferation, and protect women undergoing invasive procedures. There are also clear limits on reproductive practices, like sex selection is prohibited except in the context of sex-linked disorders. Pre-implantation genetic testing is tied to recognized medical purposes rather than enhancement or parental preference. And the law gives formal recognition to cryopreservation while regulating its consequences. Patients must give specific written instructions regarding stored reproductive material, including contingencies such as death or incapacity. So, if we compare the two eras, the change is quite striking, which is before the Act, there were professional guidelines, fragmented oversight, variable clinic practices, and limited statutory accountability. After the Act, there is compulsory registration, national data, traceability, donor safeguards, consent requirements, statutory age limits, storage rules, inspections, and penal consequences. This is a major achievement. But legislation has also created a second phenomenon. So while medicine has become increasingly capable of creating choices, the law has sometimes responded by narrowing them. And that takes us to the difficult part, which is, when does protection become paternalism? So ART produces questions for which legislation cannot always provide a simple yes or no answer. Let me give you a hypothetical situation. So suppose a couple undergoes IVF, they have 3 embryos. They have one child, their family is complete. 5 years later, those embryos remain frozen. Now the couple says, we do not want to destroy them. We do not want them for research. Another infertile couple desperately wants a child. We would voluntarily like to donate it to them. Now what should the law do? Now under Rule 13(1)(a) of the ART rules, unused gametes or embryos are to be preserved for the same recipient and cannot be used for another couple or woman. And that produces a fascinating ethical contradiction, because India permits donor sperms, it permits donor oocytes. An embryo can therefore lawfully be created using donated genetic material. But a pre-existing embryo voluntarily donated by the couple who created it cannot simply be transferred to another infertile couple under the present framework. So we must ask this question, that what exactly are we protecting? If the concern is exploitation, then prohibit payment. If the concern is trafficking, regulate.
Please unmute yourself. Please mute yourself, others. Just let's listen to the speaker. Please mute yourselves.
Should I continue?
Yeah, sure.
We were on the question of what exactly are we protecting? Because if our concern is exploitation, then we must prohibit payment. If the concern is trafficking, then regulate ART banks. If the concern is informed consent, prescribe counseling and written consent. If the concern is parentage, legislate parentage. But is absolute prohibition always necessary? Now, other regulated systems have answered differently. The UK's Human Fertilization and Embryology Authority expressly recognizes embryo donation for another person's treatment, subject to regulation and consent. It also allows patients who no longer wish to retain embryos to consider donation for treatment, research, or trading. The United States likewise recognizes donated embryo cycles. The CDC describes embryo donation as the transfer of an embryo originally created by another patient or couple who had embryos remaining from an earlier ART treatment. This is not, therefore, a speculative science, but it is a regulated reproductive option elsewhere. In fact, currently we have a matter pending before the Delhi High Court challenging the constitutionality of the ban on altruistic consent-based embryo donation in India for the purpose of IVF, when double donor gametes are allowed for the same purpose, having the same medical, legal, and ethical considerations, thereby making such exclusion violative of Article 14 and 21, which is equality and reproductive autonomy. And perhaps India should begin discussing something I would cautiously describe as embryo adoption. So I use this expression deliberately because conceptually it forces us to rethink parenthood. So while traditional adoption says a child may be born genetically to one family and legally and emotionally belong to another, embryo adoption asks, why should that principle become morally acceptable only after birth? Of course, embryo donation is not legally identical to adoption. The frameworks for parentage, disclosure, and consent are different. But philosophically, there is an interesting parallel, because in one situation, a family is given to a child after birth, and in the other, an existing embryo is given the possibility of gestation and parenthood in another family, in another womb. So the difference may sometimes be more about the timing than principle. So this was about embryo adoption. Now we come to the third part, which is constitutional morality and reproductive choice. And this is where ART law encounters constitutional law. So the Constitution does not specifically contain the word IVF, embryo, or gamete. but constitutional rights evolve alongside human experience. The Honorable Supreme Court has repeatedly placed privacy, dignity, decisional autonomy, and reproductive choice within Article 21 jurisprudence. In the case of K.S. Puttaswamy, the Supreme Court recognized decisional autonomy as central to privacy, while the court's reproductive rights jurisprudence has recognized a woman's reproductive choices as part of personal liberty under Article 21. So, this gives us a very useful framework because the question cannot merely be, does society approve of this form of reproduction? But the constitutional question is there a legitimate reason for the state to restrict this individual's reproductive decision? And is the restriction proportionate? Now, that distinction is very critical because constitutional morality frequently protects choices precisely because social morality may find them uncomfortable. Now, the Supreme Court jurisprudence has emphasized autonomy, dignity, and individual choice rather than allowing conventional social expectations alone to dictate intimate decisions. ART is perhaps the next great laboratory for that principle. Now, let's consider some difficult questions. So, the first question may be, must genetic parenthood remain the center of reproductive law? Which means if donor sperm is acceptable and donor oocytes are also acceptable, why should the absence of a genetic relationship with either commissioning parent necessarily become objectionable? Question number 2. Who owns, or perhaps more accurately, who has decisional authority over a frozen embryo? Is it a property? Is it potential life? Is it biological material with special status or something sui generis requiring an entirely new legal category? The third important question is what happens when relationships change after embryos are frozen? So this we had discussed in detail in our previous talk also. That suppose in a situation where one partner wants implantation, the other withdraws consent, which rights prevails? The right to reproduce or the right not to reproduce? The current Act itself recognizes the continuing significance of consent and permits withdrawal before transfer of embryos or gametes to the woman's uterus. But clinics increasingly encounter situations. The statutory consent forms were never really designed to resolve separation, divorce, disappearance, incapacity, and death. Now, question number 4. Should posthumous reproduction be permitted? Now, the Act contemplates posthumous collection only where prior consent exists. But imagine a frozen embryo created by a married couple. One spouse dies. The surviving spouse wishes to have their child. So, in this situation, should an old general purpose consent form determine something of that magnitude? Or should we recognize a specific posthumous reproduction directive? That's another question to ponder. Question number 5 would be, what is the child's right to genetic identity? India currently places a strong emphasis on donor confidentiality, but internationally, attitudes are evolving. In the United Kingdom, donors of sperms, eggs, and embryos donated from April 2005 onwards are no longer permanently anonymous to donor conceived persons in the same way as under the earlier regime. So that raises a genuinely difficult conflict between the donor's privacy and the child's interest in knowing biological origins. Now, there is no easy answer to all of these questions, and these are some of the questions that we really need to ponder upon. And that is precisely why future ART law should not be built solely around prohibitions, but should be built around frameworks for these difficult choices. Now, coming to the next part, what ART 2.0 should look like? That is the reforms that should come into law. So, if I were asked to design the next generation of India's ART framework, I would primarily suggest 7 major reforms. First, is a regulated framework for embryo donation. which is to permit voluntary altruistic donation of surplus frozen embryos, which involves no sale, no brokerage, no commercial advertising, donation only through registered ART banks, involving mandatory independent counseling, medical and genetic screening, a cooling off period, and clear written consent from both genetic contributors, and a clear statutory parentage in favor of the recipient parents from birth. That would convert the present prohibition into a regulated reproductive pathway. Interestingly, jurisdictions such as UK already regulate embryo donation, and the US National ART Surveillance records donated embryos transfers as an established ART category. Second suggestion would be to create an embryo disposition agreement, which I had discussed in the previous lecture itself, that at the time embryos are frozen, couples should not merely sign a generic consent form, but they should make choices for unforeseeable contingencies, like what happens if they separate, what happens upon divorce, uh, incapacity, failure to pay storage charges, loss of contact, completion of the family, and their choices could include continued storage, use by one spouse with prior consent, donation to another infertile person or couple, donation to approved research or lawful disposal. Now, this would reduce litigation enormously, and consent should not be treated as a signature obtained before an IVF cycle, but should have a wider meaning. Third would be to move from chronological age to individualized reproductive assessment. Now, the current Act places statutory age boundaries on the availability of art services. Women below 21, women above 21 and below 50, and men above 21 and below 55 years of age. These are the only categories that can avail ART. So, now age is obviously medically relevant, but medicine is increasingly individualized. So, a future framework could preserve presumptive age limits while allowing exceptional cases to be considered by an independent medical board on objective criteria. The broader principle should be let medical risk be assessed medically unless prohibition is constitutionally necessary. Next reform that I would suggest is to establish a national fertility preservation program. India should increasingly treat fertility preservation as healthcare rather than a luxury lifestyle. Cancer patients, individuals undergoing gonadotoxic therapy, and patients facing premature ovarian insufficiency should have structured access to fertility counseling and preservation. Australia, for example, has a government ART storage funding program assisting patients who need to freeze reproductive material because of cancer or risk of transmitting certain genetic conditions. India likewise could develop a targeted public health model through selective government institutions. Next reform that I would suggest is to create the child-centered donor information framework. Now, in India, we need a mature debate on donor anonymity. Not necessarily immediate disclosure, but not unlimited disclosure, but perhaps a two-tier system, which is not identifying medical and genetic information available during childhood, with identifying information potentially accessible to the donor conceived person upon adulthood under carefully defined rules. Technology may eventually make permanent anonymity impossible anyways, so the law should prepare for that reality rather than discover it through litigation later. Next would be to create a regulatory sandbox for new reproductive technologies. Now, science will obviously move faster than the parliament. So, tomorrow's questions will concern mitochondrial donations, artificial gametes, gene editing, AI based embryo selection, and technologies we have not yet named. Australia, for instance, has established a regulated pathway towards introducing mitochondrial donation as an IVF based technology aimed at preventing transmission of serious mitochondrial disease. India should therefore consider an art regulatory sandbox under the national board, a tightly controlled mechanism through which emerging technologies can be scientifically evaluated, ethically reviewed, used in limited approved centers, monitored through the national registry, and either authorized, modified, or rejected on evidence. Otherwise, we will repeat the same cycle, which is science develops, patient seeks treatment, law remains silent, courts are approached, and policy catches up years later. The next reform that I would suggest is make the national registry a knowledge system and not merely a compliance system. India now possesses the architecture for something extraordinary. Clinics already report patient enrollment, procedure outcomes, and complications to the registry. That data can eventually tell us which procedures work, at what ages, with what risks, how many embryos remain cryopreserved, how frequently do patients abandon stored embryos, where are donor shortages arising, what complications recur. So the registry should ultimately produce anonymized annual national ART outcome reports. For example, the United States CDC already uses national ART surveillance to publish outcomes and even provide IVF success estimation tools based on accumulated clinical data. Imagine an Indian couple being able to assess fertility clinics not through advertisements claiming 90% success, but through verified registry data. Now, that would be a transformative regulation. And coming to the last part, which is the larger question that we have, is where is Indian ART law heading? So I believe we have completed phase one. Phase one was bring order to an unregulated industry, register clinics, register banks, protect donors, standardize consent, prevent exploitation, create traceability, and India needed all of that. But phase two must now begin, and phase two should ask, how do we regulate reproductive choice without unnecessarily extinguishing it? Because the objective of art law cannot merely be to prevent misuse of technology, but it must also enable the responsible use of technology. That requires a subtle shift in legislative philosophy from is this permitted to can this safely and ethically be regulated? And from the state knows what family should look like to the state protects the condition in which individuals may responsibly create families. There is a fundamental difference between these two approaches. One is paternalism and the other is constitutional governance. So I will end with one thought that reproductive technology is advancing extraordinarily quickly, but ultimately ART is not about technology alone. It is about something very old, which is the human desire to create a family. Science has changed how that family can be created. The Constitution increasingly protects who gets to make intimate decisions about that family. The task of law is therefore neither to blindly follow science, not to fear it. Its task is to create guardrails against exploitation, against commodification, against unsafe medicine, against genetic discrimination. But within those guardrails, the law must leave sufficient space for choice, dignity, consent, and human possibility. So the next evolution of ART regulation in India should therefore not merely ask what should we prohibit, it should have the confidence to ask for a far more progressive question, which is what can we responsibly enable? And perhaps that will mark the real transition from regulating assisted reproduction to protecting reproductive autonomy. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you
Modi.
so much, ma'am.
You have shown us a beautiful dream today, Advocate Mohini. This
Yes.
ART 2.0, I wish, we have people, lawmakers, and people who are at the helms of affairs thinking like the way you are thinking, that
Start thinking
progressive
about it.
kind of thinking is required. But practically speaking, do you think it is going to happen in our lifetime?
This is wishful thinking, but we need to at least start talking about these things. Maybe they will happen 50 years down the line, but we can at least start the process now.
Yeah, because these are the things which are, troubling us. This embryo donation thing, which used to happen earlier, it was helping so many couples.
Right.
Can't do it now. And then, this thing about even
This amount of
surrogacy
embryo
now.
is getting wasted.
Yeah.
Please.
And the surrogacy, where it is not being allowed for a second child. There are so many issues, which are
Right.
there.
Yes.
But yeah, it was a very interesting talk. Really loved listening to you again today.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Uh, the other chairpersons can.
I would I would like to congratulate you for an excellent eye-opening talk where
Thank
you have told us about the reforms which are needed in the ART law, and
you.
that
Yes.
will enable, basically, it is not about prohibition anymore. It should be enabling, and it
Right.
will be in the interest of the couples, basically, who are so much desirous of having children. And it has become very difficult for many couples, especially in the surrogacy part. If we can talk, a lot of couples, they are finding it so difficult. And a lot of areas are there where the prohibition is so rigid. So it has become very difficult. And you have very nicely enumerated and point out the reforms which we need, that is the need of the hour. And thank you for excellent talk and covering all and giving us the main issues and how they will be resolved. Uh, it was
Any
a
or any
pleasure
other
listening to you.
that we would like to discuss, I'm open to all of that. I would like to know from you because you are the real
Can
experts in the
take
field.
our,
Yes,
you can take our cause forward, Advocate Mohini. You can take our cause forward. You are our lawyer friend of our
And we
fraternity.
can take your issues.
registry part is very,
Yes.
very, very important, as you said. The registry where everything should be transparent and the success rates and all, and the centers, the couples can get an idea about the centers through that
Right.
registry about the success rates, not just with the advertisements. It is need of the
Absolutely.
hour, basically.
Absolutely.
And
Advertisement.
regarding the embryo part which get wasted, and many times couples do intend to donate. They are very keen to
Yes.
donate their embryos.
Legislature may make it a one-time consent-based donation so
Yeah,
that it is commercialized, but there should be some regulation around embryo donation as well. Cannot be
absolutely.
completely.
And we can, in that place, we can always follow what Western world they are following, and they have regulated these things in a much better way. So it is
Yes.
not that it is not happening anywhere else. It is happening somewhere else. Only thing is to introduce those reforms, and you people are the best to implement those changes, and it will be helpful for not only the couples and also for the doctors, ART specialists. So thank you so much for joining us, and
Pleasure. Like
looking
always.
forward to similar lectures in future also.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Advocate Mohini, I want to ask one question, before we end your talk.
Yes.
This just occurred to me. Suppose a couple has, conceived after taking donor sperm of a donor. And
Yeah.
suppose, the couple now, after having one child from that donor, wants to have another child from the same donor, the same semen donor. What happens? Is it possible?
That, no, that is also not allowed as per the law.
That is also not allowed, right?
Yes, that's also. Of course, if you have embryos frozen, then you can use them. But
Yeah, but this is like maybe doing a
no,
IUI,
no, no.
intra-uterine insemination procedure, which is a simpler procedure. And suppose a woman has conceived with a donor's semen from one donor, and she wants to have a second child from the
Using
same
the same
donor,
donor.
an
No,
anonymous donor. It is not
yeah,
allowed, right?
no, that's not. Because
Yeah,
donor can donate only once in life.
yeah.
So,
But the donor can also
hello.
donate once.
May I add something? May I add something?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Uh, what the law says that yeah, one donor can give as many sample as possible to only the same couple. Okay, so I think if he is having, I mean, that if the ART bank is having the another vial of the same donor, he can, I mean, they can provide the same donor. Because the one male donor can give a baby to the one couple, and it has not been mentioned that two baby or three baby. The only thing is it should go to the single couple, same couple. So I don't think there is any legal issue
There
if they
provision,
want the same the sample.
but isn't there a provision
So
that
the
only
same
one
couple with
can't be
same
single?
provided the ARD center is having the another vial of that.
May I say something? Hi, Dr. Neeti, Binu here.
Have you on board? Ha, batao.
Ma'am, here nobody is speaking from the government side. So, I would bring up the government's perspective about two reforms that Dr. Mohini, Advocate Mohini proposed. I'm very happy about her ideas of research and registry, everything. That's fine. But first of all, registry is there, but we have to think how many IVF specialists are regularly uploading their outcomes to that registry. Right? It is already there with the central government. There is a portal, dedicated portal. So yes,
Yes.
if you spread this news, it will be a common thing in few years, maybe coming years. But my suggestions on those two proposed reforms that Advocate Mohini put up. First is that why should a couple be not allowed to donate their embryo more than once, right? That is your contention,
No,
right?
no, no, no. Binu, couples are
Then
not allowed to
They,
donate embryo at all.
even for a single time.
Even for a single
Hey,
time.
they should not be. I give you an example.
It
A
is this.
couple has a kid. A couple has a kid. After 10 years, 12 years, they are going in market, and that couple sees another kid looking same as their kid. You just imagine the turmoil. So actually, these regulations have been put up there for some reasons to
No,
prevent
no,
the
Binu,
litigations in
Binu,
future.
Binu, it
No, no,
does.
just let me first complete my both the perspectives, the government's perspectives. So, first of all, these all things have been brought forward by a group of specialists, by a group of experts, considering all the facts that are existing there in our country right now. Other thing was the surrogacy is not allowed more than once. It should not be. The way women were being exploited in Gujarat, that news was all over there on newspapers. Yes, it should not be allowed more than once. Then the third thing was that the age of the couple, commissioning couple, the men and the women's. So idea here is if a lady or a mother is more than 50 years and a father is more than 55 years, how much time they will be able predict the survivability of the men and women in our country. So there is a reason behind everything that has been put into law. Yes. So by the time that kid is 20 years old, that father would be 75 years old and the mother would be like 70 years old, right? So there are reasons. I'm just putting the perspective of government. The changes is always welcome and they are the need of the time. But there is a reason for everything. And then, yes, research thing is most welcome, most welcome. This registry thing, yes, the outcomes should not be based on the publicity. जो कुछ भी हम publicize कर रहे हैं, and that should not be there, but that would become the reality only when the IVF specialists themselves start uploading the data regularly and sincerely and the true data on the portal, which is existing there already. So these were my contentions. Just it was just a government's perspective. That's it. Nothing else. Thank
Acha,
you. Thank you.
I will just tell you a few things about this now, what you have said.
Yes.
See, first
Yes.
of all, what we were talking about when Advocate Mohini was talking about embryo donation, it was not without consent. Obviously, it is not that your embryo is being given to somebody without consent. Only when the couple would consent. Earlier, also, when we were doing it, before the ART Act came in, it was always with consent. So you will not see a baby, moving here and
So
there.
that is why, madam, in foreign countries, there were many litigations that the kids were, mushrooming of same faces.
Dr.
So
Binu,
that is why
Dr.
the
Binu, there is
law
a
came up with this
hello,
condition. Yes,
Dr. Binu,
yes.
Dr. Radhana Gupta here. There is
Yes,
a consent form which is not mentioned at all that I can donate my embryo. Number one, and you have to fill only that
I'm
consent form.
getting
You
your
can't make
point.
a new
I'm
consent
getting your
form.
point. But you also
But
understand the reason
listen to me.
behind.
Listen to me.
The
Okay,
reason
listen to
behind
me.
the condition has been
अरे
put
reason
there.
पे बात सुनो ना, just listen to me. There were ICMR consent, we used to fill ICMR consent form previously when the law was not here. That has mentioned I want to donate my egg. So once the
But
law
ma'am,
has
law
come,
keeps
has
on
not in
changing.
the same way.
Law
No,
will keep on changing depending upon
yeah.
the conditions
So
appear.
very
No,
long
no, it
discussion.
should not
I
be
think we should
allowed.
not fall
Maybe
into
it
this
will be
trap.
one
allowed in
person
We should
future.
one
continue.
person should talk at once.
Yeah, we should
And
continue now, na?
Yes.
one
Otherwise it
person
will
only
delay a
should
lot.
talk.
Hmm.
I'm just telling you the reason behind these conditions have been put up there. So we may have our own views, but this is the government's perspective, why they have put up there, and these things have been brought after rounds of discussion among the experts. So whatever we are saying on a national platform, both the views should be available. Why it is there and what should be the way forward. So that is my point. Thank you so much.
I think, yeah, we should close this discussion now because we are, the time is also like 7 now. So we have to go on to the next talk. Jayashree, can you
Yeah.
be chairperson of the next?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you everyone for such an insightful discussion. Now we are moving to the session two, and that is ART and Surrogacy Act. Now I would like to introduce the chairpersons, Dr. Gunjan Goswami. She's an
Hello,
associate.
good evening.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Dr. Gunjan Goswami, she's an associate professor in GMC Riva, and Dr. Sonal ma'am, she's a senior consultant at Her Health Hospital, Bhopal, and Dr. Ishani Banerjee, she's clinical embryologist at Ideal Fertility IVF and Genetics Center. Now, I would like to request Ishani Banerjee ma'am to introduce our speaker, Dr. Barak.
Uh, Thank you very much for this amazing session that we're having. Just a few pointers over the previous one. This discussion is literally never ending, and I'm looking forward to the next session, which is talking about Surrogacy Act. So I don't think I need to elaborate a lot on Dr. Parag's introduction since we've been talking to him since the meeting began. Anyway, he is the IVF Lab Director of Clinical Embryology and has been part of many national and international bodies across the country and the globe. And he has been a recipient of many awards, including the Young Talent Award, Embryology Excellence Award in SR, and obviously the co-convener of the Special Interest Group. So I'm very excited to hear from Sir about the Surrogacy Act and hopefully we'll be having an equally heated discussion just like now. So, welcome, sir, on behalf of IFS MP, and please over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Ishani, for this elaborate and nice presentation of my CV. Today, I am going to focus on the embryology lab part. Let me first upload my presentation. So, I think, okay. Well, sharing the multiple. Okay, I'm sharing my entire screen. I think that would be helping. So I think you people can see my screen, right?
No, we can't. Now we can, yeah.
Yes. So everyone can see my screen?
Yeah, Dr. Parag. Please go ahead.
Yes. So very good evening, everyone. When we embryologists enter the IVF laboratory, we always focus on the oocyte, sperm, embryos, incubators, witnessing systems, and cryostorage. But today, there is one more thing standing beside the microscope. What's that? That is ART law, ART and surrogacy law. So the ART and surrogacy acts have changed one fundamental reality. An embryologist is no longer responsible only for doing the procedure correctly. We must also be able we must always also be able to demonstrate that the procedure was legally done, but by the right person. Every word is important. By the right person, in the right clinic, with the right consent, and with the right documentation. So sometimes the most dangerous question is not, did I make a mistake in the laboratory? The question now pertinent is, can I prove that I was not even there when the mistake happened? So today I am not going to discuss the act like a lawyer, and I am not. I am going to discuss in front of you from the other side of the microscope, from an embryologist's perspective. Because in ART, today, good embryology without good documentation may still become bad defense. So we have to be very careful. Imagine, I'll go to the details. Imagine this, your name and qualifications are registered in a level 2 clinic, and one day you are on leave, or you are sick, or some reason you could not go, and another embryologist comes, performs the procedure, and unfortunately a mismatch happens on that day, that time only. You were not in the laboratory. You did not even touch the gametes. You did not perform the procedure, but whose name is sitting in the clinic's registration records? That's more important. Today's discussion is therefore not about fear of the law. It is about learning how to practice confidently within the law. So my topic will be based on this. From our guideline era to compliance era, how the journey began. In 2005, we are just discussing about ICMR guidelines, ICMR recommendations. That continued, and then 10 to 17, the ART bill drafts, multiple versions were coming, and ART Act and Surrogacy Act then came just after Corona in 2021, and it got started from the 25th January 2022 that it was in action. And in 2024, surrogacy amendments, one donor gamete allowed in certified cases. And in 2026, today, amendment rules, fee payments, and renewal process clarified, and the portal started. So the embryology relevance is retrospective practice must now meet prospective legal expectations, especially stored gametes, embryos, donor use, transfers, and records. So regulatory architecture, who watches what? National, we have to understand this. Once this law came, we are not a lawyer. We had no idea about how the thing was working. So I started, uh, you know, uh, accumulating the facts, what the gadget was showing, and then we understood that okay, the thing works like this. So National ART and Surrogacy Board, that actually regulates the state board, and National Registry Decentral Database, then it has been governed by the state board, and then the appropriate authority registration inspection happens, and then we get level 1 clinic registration, or level 2 clinic registration, ART bank, surrogacy clinic, all these, but these comes all under this National Registry Central Database. Now we are uploading the data, so things are going, the all data are going directly to the database, and database is being monitored by state as well as the uh, national body. So registry receives data, appropriate authority enables registration, inspection, compliance, embryology lab records must be ready for both at any point of time, for any inspection, central body or state board, anyone can come, anyone can verify anything without harming the embryos, and they won't do that. But we have to be ready with all the data in our lab as well as in the central database. Now, what does the law see inside an IVF lab? Everything. Oocyte, sperm, embryo, woman, couple, ART clinic, registry, child born after ART, and obviously donor ART through ART bank. So the embryologist practical translation, identify it, document it, protect it, and transfer it only with authority, not with others. Clinic classification, we all know, but just for record, we have to understand, because basic things are very, you embryologists need to understand that what level 1 level 2 can do, what they cannot do. Do's and don'ts are very important. Level 1, they can do OPD for the infertility things, folliculometry, semen preparation, IUI, no IVF, ICSI, ET, PGT, no ART bank work. Only they can store semen from for the patients for IUI purpose. That's it. Level 2, IVF, ICSI, ET, PGT, everything can be done. Cryo, surgical sperm retrieval, but embryologist mandatory over here. In level 1, embryologist is not mandatory. Andrologist is also not mandatory. I mean, the lab people. But for good practice, we always can have more than what required by law. Good practice gives us this authority that to keep anyone for better practice. So in level 2, full chain of custody responsibility. So in ART bank, what they can do: donor registration, semen collection, testing, storage, supply. But what they cannot do, donor, they can keep the donor records, confidentiality, not a treatment cycle. Any treatment they cannot do. Surrogacy clinic, obviously they can do the surrogacy. So rule of thumb of embryologists is never let a lab action exceed the registration scope of the clinic or bank. Exact training pathway to become an embryologist, very important. I keep on getting lots of calls about this, that whether I can work or not. I have done MSc, so I have been practicing for so many years. uh, there are lots of, initially there were lots of ambiguity, but right now it is very crystal clear. Full-time MCE, Masters in Clinical Embryology, uh, or post-graduation in clinical embryology, if they have done this 3-year human ART laboratory experience in handling human gametes and embryos, they can work as an embryologist and get registered. Full-time PhD related to clinical embryology, that is my subject. I have done my PhD. It was connected with cryobiology. So this kind of PhD, like which PhD is the topic is related to ART, that PhD is acceptable. Otherwise, his or her MSc would be acceptable, and then the degree and experience would be counted. That I'm coming next. So for the PhD, one additional year, just experience in the IVF laboratory is absolutely okay for practicing and getting registered. MBBS, BBSc plus full-time MC is must, or PG clinical embryology. Having MBBS and not doing, MD or anything. If you have not done MCE, do it and then practice. Then only it can get registered. Then plus 2 years of human laboratory experience. MSc biotechnology, that is the most of the people they keep on calling the MSc biotechnology in life sciences. Life sciences covers all the biological subjects which is relevant, and 1 year on site full time certified clinical embryology training, that is a must, plus 4 years of ART lab experience in registered level 2 clinic. So that is important. So 1 year full time certified clinical embryology training they have to have. Now the question comes that which one would be certified? Certified, there are ambiguities. People in different states I have come to know in different ideas, but generally this is the word which has been given. So the understanding is you have to take this 1 year of experience from either from a recognized university affiliated center, if it was not easily available initially. So level 2, previously it was a registered clinical establishment with ART facility and everything who was working at that time. If you had a 1 year full time on site training over there in level 2, now level 2, but previously it was just IVF clinic, registered IVF clinic, so you are eligible, plus 4 years of experience. One time measure for existing embryologists who are working from long time, so 5 years in ART or IVF clinic experience, and at least 500 of IVF lab procedure including ICSI, and 100 embryo cryopreservation cycles you have to have, and then only you can practice. But there is a catch: the clinic where you have been working, if you have done that kind of BSc, and then you have been practicing, but if you have changed your clinic and you are now today, after the commissioning of the law, if you want to enter into a new clinic, then you have to go through that MCE or the other things which I have showed. Like you have to go through the new requirement of MCE or PhD in this subject, or the MSc biotechnology, and then 1 year of full experience. Those things are must, otherwise they cannot get registered you. So this is a catch point. So one time it was been accepted. So this is the thing. So message for trainees: degree alone is not enough. Documented hands-on human ART lab experience is essential. So embryologist daily compliance loop is like this: that whenever we are working inside the lab under microscope, verify first the identity and witness with double witnessing, physical, or if you have a witness system. So match with all forms that whether everything is correct or not, because one single mismatch, it can land you up to a courtroom. So check legality, eligibility, donor source, clinic registration scope, control process, stimulation, safety inputs, retrieval count, or culture conditions, how many numbers you have retrieved. So everything, every data should be recorded, record everything. and report and close the outcome, discharge certificate, inputs, registry data, and grievance path. So if it is not recorded, it did not happen. It is like that. This you have to accept. Is no longer a quality slogan, it is a legal shield. You have to do this. Now, donor gametes, the highest risk lab interface. Initially, there were lots of questions, but now things are pretty clear. So procure donor gametes through registered ART bank permitted pathway. There are permitted pathway. You have to source your donor through the ART bank. If you have an ART bank, then through that only the paperwork should be perfectly all right. You have to route through, or a registered ART bank, you have to route your every donor, whether it is a sperm donor or whether it is a egg donor. So oocyte donor is, the age is, we all know that 23 to 35, because catch them young, that is the concept. Initially we had that also. So but the main focus is once in lifetime. That is a very important thing, and maximum 7 oocytes in one cycle can be utilized. Retrieval is not the only the 7 cycle. Initially it was, but after that, it was been clarified in another gadget, like okay, you can retrieve all the oocytes, all the follicles, you can evacuate, because that will be saving the patient actually. But you can utilize the 7. So there are some ambiguities with that. There are some questions. I am not going into that details. It is case specific, but the thing is like that. Sperm donor, bank controls donor screening. They will screen everything, the blood workup, everything will be done. Release and records and uses restrictions. Insurance, 12 months general health insurance for oocyte donors. Sperm donors, no health insurance, nothing, because they are not landing up to OT. Confidentiality, protect donor couple information, disclose only as permitted. You have to lock and key all the data inside a cover. It should not be accessible by all the people unless they are registered in the bank, and the particular clinician and the embryologist, those people only can access that. So donor file, the ID proof, epidemics, medical test, consent, insurance, bank release, recipient link, all these need to be kept properly. But you have to ensure that embryologist risk point is never create embryos from donor material until source, consent, insurance, and linkage are fully verified. Otherwise, you may face problem. Oocyte donor workflow, embryologist checkpoint map is like that. The clinical identification, low image donor oocyte identification indication, or that is all documented. Now, bank permitted donor route, registered bank identity, and medical screening. Now, legal pack, consents, epidemic, 12 months insurance, that to be done properly. Who will do? Either bank or the clinic, ideally bank. For retrieval limit, retrieval limit up to 7 oocytes, as I have already said, once in lifetime, and fertilization and linkage, and then record outcome, donor file, embryo file, registry update, everything is in place. So recommended local SOP is separate donor clearance checklist signed by clinician, counselor, and embryologist and authorized administrator before denudation or ICSI. That will safeguard you. So now, sperm donor practical interpretation at the lab bench. The safest SOP is more conservative than the most liberal interpretation. Potential interpretation is bank releases one donor sample to one clinic for one commissioning party. Outcome is tracked before further use. It is very clear. Now, risk if loose, repeated use without tracking may create legal or genetic and consequently risks. So embryologist action, what? Use only bank supply documented matched quarantined quarantine cleared donor semen. Quarantine now, it is not mandatory, but for good practice it is good. Otherwise, quarantine now, freezing is not mandatory by law. It is not mandatory. It is never, nowhere it is written that you have to quarantine for 6 months or 3 months like this. But good practice always give you, better sleep at night. So do not treat donor semen as a routine consumable. Treat it as a regulated, identity linked biological material. Very important, because every day we are working with this. Sometime we think like this is a consumable kind of a, okay, get a one semen, get the donor semen, this patient has already signed. So this is not a consumable. You have to understand that. You have to understand this is a biological material, one genetic, straight, you are handling basically the DNA of somebody. So you have to be very specific on that. So consents and forms, obviously those consents which are written in the law, that is mandatory. If you want to have some more consents, additional consents, not do overdo, as advocate Moini Priya told rightly, not do not overdo this. But whatever you are doing, you can keep one additional or two additional consents, because that will help. You can have a video recording of the while you are doing consenting, that will be giving very extra, uh, you know um, uh, that will be protecting you. And why I am telling you the additional consent, because we in my clinic, I do, because there are incidences, there were some incidences in my long career. I have seen people sometimes swaps, semen inside the semen collection room. They are not potential, maybe their sperm. One day you see that your sperm, that sperm is not good, and the other day you will see that the excellent nice sperm, maybe it has been swapped, and you never know. So you can keep for your help, you can keep an additional consent which will ensure that this is my biological material, and with all consent I am giving this. I i am uh, uh, i am giving my own semen. So that kind of a consent, additional consent will always be helpful. So embryologists must stop the lab process if consent does not match the biological action. So you have to be very careful, because ultimately you are on the microscope. But in that regard, I would say also the clinician also give the free space, director also keep the free space, not create any pressure to the embryologist doing something unlawful. That is another thing all the clinician must take note, because that embryologist will be landing into a big trouble if anything happens. And then the clinician should not say that I have not told. So better practices, embryologists must stop the lab process if consent does not match the biological action. So cryostorage and records where years become liability. So we know that if for ART, generally 10 years of records to be maintained, but for the surrogacy 25 years, long 25 years, because surrogacy lots of cases happened which were misused, many things. And that's why this stringent law came. And whatever the good things of the law, 99% were good things, but the 1%, if we feel like that this should not happen, this should not come into law, this came because our own friend or our somebody known have done heinous crime with somebody, some girl, maybe not even 18 years, or maybe only giving money. They were doing surrogacy. But I feel the government also think about how to mobilize the thing in proper way, that the this money things, it should not be like buying and selling. It should not. So uh, altruistic surrogacy have came. But I have, you know, because lots of people keep on asking that any government giving any uh, uh, further gadget which will help us to give them some transportation and many things are there that Dr. Advocate Mohini Priya can give, that what surrogate can get, or whether surrogate or oocyte donor can get or not. But the things are like that this is now altruistic surrogacy. We cannot offer money to any surrogate mother. So Old frozen gametes embryos require proactive recounseling, updated consent, and clear communication before any action. So be specific on that. Transfer of gametes or embryos from one clinic to another clinic. It is not just a courier logistic. People think like we'll send just by somebody from here to there. It is not like that now. You understand the whole process now. There are consents, we there are procedure, there are SOPs. You have to send a permission letter, asking permission to the national board through the state board. You have to move, and then the receiving clinic and the sending clinic both have to give the consent, and then the thing will come like one patient came to my clinic and asked that, see, I have sent a mail, I have sent this, the whole thing I have done, I have sent a mail, and now you let me transfer the embryo to another clinic. So I smiled and said, being a lab director, I cannot give you consent, because you have to get the permission letter from the national board, and you send us that permission letter, and then we will send. It is your property, but it is in our custody, and as we have created this, so it is our responsibility to make it, very uh, lawful transfer. Exit should be very smooth. That is what my understanding about anything. So Emerald is minimum transfer note is patient ID, material type, stock Rylock IDs, stage, storage of location, tank consistent, canister, date, time, transport condition, send and receive witness signatures. So this will save you in lots of, because during transportation also many things can happen. So the sender should have a proper way of keeping the record, like this much I have given, this is the thing. And the receiver also, at that time of receiving, they cannot confirm that, okay, it is written like 3 embryos, means it has 3 embryos. Until unless you thaw it and see it, you cannot. And now on the day when you receive the thing, and if you see, if you do, if you want to, if you cannot see basically how many embryos are there, you have to make another kind of thing, that this I have received, this is this and this and that, and on the transfer date we will thaw this, or the according to your SOP you will thaw it, and then you will notify that how many was there, how many was the, what was the quality, and whether everything was matching with the thing which was been recorded by the sender's clinic. So these things have to have a proper way of communication. Patient should not suffer, mind it. So eligibility boundaries affect lab decisions. We know that what is the age and all these criteria, but my point is, like, always have a proper paper kind of a thing pasted on your lab somewhere, that this is the age criteria, this is the criteria for a single woman, and the age criteria. So you can get any donor, you can get your now the anonymity is nowhere, all the time you cannot just do the anonymity, and all this confidentiality is important now. So if somebody's sister comes and say that I want to voluntarily give my oocyte for my sister, obviously you can take through the ART bank, you have to route it proper, health records and everything has to be done. And but the thing is, you should know that what is the age limit is now very important for anything and everything. Lots of PIL was being formed regarding this, and everything has been cleared by the government, that this is the only the age thing is more important than who's near and dear. So this is the, now the thing is like this: before OPUXC embryo transfer, check age eligibility at the time of service, not only at first consultation. Uh, so so now the surrogacy of embryologist perspective is very different. You have to check lots of papers, whether the the date when you are going to transfer, when she got the license, that yes, I mean the government, they have given the right, that yes, you can now do the surrogacy. So you have to understand that the age is more important when you have got that particular certificate from the government. So these are the very small things I have highlighted in my newsletter also. I will come later in that thing. So embryologist risk is the creating embryos for a surrogacy case before approvals can make a scientifically correct cycle legally incorrect. So in some cases it happens because initially it was not surrogacy, it was for the ART. Transfer did not happen, pregnancy, and then the thing moved into the surrogacy. In those cases, everything we have to share with the ART board, and then ART board will give you proper thing like, yes, you can go ahead and transfer, and then you can transfer. So I have to check all the things. It is not for, I mean, one statement is not fit for all the case scenarios, so we have to understand that. So PGT sex selection, obviously not, there is no question. No sex selection, no trait selection, no casual embryo testing, no verbal shortcuts. So embryologist top rule: if the indication is not legal, documented, and medically justified, the biopsy testing workflow should not proceed. So this is very important thing, and we have to be careful who are doing regularly biopsies and sending to the genetic lab. Previously, before law, lots of things happened, and many people was being prosecuted for sex selection. We condemn it, all the embryologists and the clinician, and we should not follow this kind of bad practice. We have to have a fair practice. So offenses and penalties, I don't want to make you very you know you 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 cannot work even in your lab if you keep on saying that, okay, this is the penalty, I'll be behind the bar. But things are very clear now. You have to keep all the documents, you have to obey the rules. There are clear indications, you have to follow that. If you don't do any wrong thing, you would be safe, and obviously your clinic will be helping you in any question comes. Then you defend yourself and get out of it. Take help of good advocates, and you definitely will be out of all problems. So implementation is complex, question is still need in SOP answers. So donor once in lifetime, anonymity versus confidentiality, portal burden is another thing now we are facing, because we are uploading the data. So who uploads, verifies, achieves registry data? So that is a question. Insurance wording, does the policy explicitly covers OHSS retrieval complications? That sometimes gives us problem. Old embryos, how to reconsent pre-act cryostorage cases, that case to case basis we have to work out on it. And foreign OCI or PIO cases, eligibility varies by ART versus surrogacy pathway. So verify before starting. So best approach where the act is silent or implementation is evolving, adopt the stricter interpretation, document reasoning, and seek written authority clarification. Anything, if you think that this may be some malpractice or something, it is not clear by law, get help from the people who know the law better than you, maybe the advocates or the clinician or the embryologist who know this law. So this is the thing. So embryologist compliance checklist before starting: registration scope, eligibility, consent, insurance, donor source, during lab work, witnessing levels, timings, media lot, incubator, how many incubators we have, 2 incubators at least, 60 machines mandatory. So once you enter into the lab, see that thing, and before transfer freezing, correct patient, correct embryo gametes, correct consent limits are there. But you have to have either witnessing system automated or double witnessing system. Human error can happen, another human can correct you. So after procedure, outcome entry, discharge details, registry data, complication reporting, and always confidentiality. Grievance cell is there, training is always open, audit trial is must, no shortcuts, avoid shortcuts, they cut short science, ethics, and career. So my newsletter will give you some details about these things in a proper way, so you can get a copy. I will share you the QR code later. So you keep the important things in your OPD and in your lab, so that you can get a quick answer of any basic questions. Maybe some maximum time basic things we ignore. So another thing, last thing, which I started with which I started the visiting backup embryologist. Avoid the ghost operator risk. When the named embryologist is on leave and another person performs 6C vitrification, warming lab handover. So lab handover is in a proper way. Registration is must. You can keep another embryologist you for just get registered, that okay, if anything happens in a single clinic. I'm not talking about the corporate setup. There are many embryologists, but in single run centers there are only one embryologist. Even the visiting embryologist, they are not getting a proper embryologist. Even they means proper embryologist for whole time, full time. They are sometime hiring for the embryologists are coming from outstation, or maybe some one embryologist is working with 4, 5, or 3 uh, clinics. In those cases, if somebody misses for any health reason or something, what will happen if you don't do if you don't keep another backup. Backup is more important now. If you don't back up your embryologist, another embryologist registered, so you may land up into problem, because another embryologist is doing whatever they are doing. You have to, in the corporate setup also, you have to keep a note that this particular patient, this particular embryologist has done. Otherwise you will land up when what gamete you have not even touched. Maybe the mismatch happened intentionally or unintentionally, and you will land up into a big problem. So ghost operator risk is there. So bottom line is, no ART procedure should happen without a named, qualified, documented, responsible embryologist for that specific case. So thank you very much. And the next slide, the last slide is, this is my newsletter which I gathered. It is a 86 pages newsletter, and in that newsletter I try to document as much as possible. And I have updated also recently. So this is a QR code. You can get a picture of it, and you can get through this QR code you can get this newsletter PDF, and you can download on that PDF and can keep with you. I printed thousands of newsletters that was been given to all the distributed, but really telling you, I don't have even one copy right now. I have the PDF. So this is the PDF QR code. You can get it and get a picture of it, and then you can get the newsletter from the Google Drive, which I have made the QR code for all people. That would be easier. And even there are QR codes of the PIL, was what was been done by the Arun Muttaval through Advocate Mohini Priya. Even that I have made another QR code that will be available inside the newsletter. There you can see all the PIL was been updated through the Dr. Arun Muttaval, and that was been
आपसे बात
uploaded.
करके
Thank you
बना
so much.
देंगे टॉपिक्स डिसाइड हो जाए कब किसका
Thank
क्या है
you. Thank you,
फिर हमसे
Doctor.
बात करके कि आप किसमें रहना चाहती हैं करवा
Ma'am,
देंगे जैसे
Doctor,
पिछली बार
ma'am,
किया था
can
उनसे पूछ करके कि आप फ्रीलांस चाहेंगे पोस्ट लग चाहेंगे
हेलो देखो कॉल कुछ ऑन करो, मेरे को बुला रहे हैं भाई।
अच्छा आवाज नहीं आ
ma'am,
रही
ये
मैम
mute
इसमें।
कर लीजिए मैम.
वो कनेक्ट है ना मैम का
एक म्यूट
गीता
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Geeta, ma'am. Thank you so much for such an extensive talk. And I wish more of embryologists were there in the audience, and I wish my embryologists were there today. Such an extensive talk, Dr. Parag. We need to listen it more often, and you need to speak more often in where at the embryologist platform.
Thank you. Thank
So,
you for the compliment. But we need to, our all embryologists should have a clear idea that
yeah,
is my point.
absolutely. So
Yes.
many things to take care of. Even I was like mesmerized. A quick, remark from our chairpersons, and then we can go to our panel because we are already getting late. The chairpersons of this talk.
Thank you, Dr. Parag Nandi. Thank you for such a nice session. You have explained nicely step by step role of embryologist in keeping records and responsibility of an embryologist. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
As an embryologist myself, I would like to thank for such a lovely, concise, just summarization of both the acts together. Because sometimes, especially after the act came to play, I have been working before the act was there, and now after the act was there, it gets a little muddy when we need to transform from one way of working to the other, even though we were doing the exact same thing before the act was there, since we were worried about our own medico legal conditions. But yeah, it was very precise and lovely put. It cleared up a lot of confusions that I myself had when working in my own setup, and I appreciate uh, the importance that you had on the backup embryologist, because in my setup we have two embryologists working at the same time. Me and Dr. Ringu is also working. So we appreciate the importance of having somebody who also knows what is going on in the lab in case of any kind of absences. So I appreciate that also. Thank you
Dr.
very much.
Parag, there are in the chat box they are asking that the QR is asking to request for access. This QR is asking to request for access.
Okay. Okay. I will check, and I will share in the chat box my this
You can
newsletter.
share it in the chat box and we can go on to the panel.
Yes, yes, yeah, go on. I'll just share. Okay. Thank you.
Dr. Jayashree, yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. It was really a very informative talk and extremely wonderful discussion. Now we are moving to the most interactive part of this webinar, and this is very important. Basically, the clinical asset, which clinical challenges faced by the day-to-day professionals. So our topic for the panel is ART under the Act, navigating clinical challenges in new regulatory era. But we are fortunate to have the experienced panel. So I would like to welcome Dr. Tina Gupta ma'am, Director of Asha Punj Fertility and Gynecology Center, Bhopal. Dr. Shilpa Dudani ma'am, Director at Ish Kripa Fertility and Endoscopy Center, Bhopal. Dr. Ishrat Zubair, Professor at Chirayu
Excuse
Medical.
me. Can
Yes,
the
ma'am.
can the moderators start sharing the screen, because that also takes time. The moderators, can you start sharing also, and you can meanwhile keep on introducing.
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Ishrat Zubair, ma'am, Professor at Chirayu Medical College, Bhopal. Dr. Preeti Gupta, ma'am, Consultant and Endoscopic Surgeon, IVF Specialist in Gwalior. Dr. Payal Raghuvanshi, ma'am, Consultant in Reproductive Medicine in Nova IVF Center, Bhopal. Dr. Nikun Suli, ma'am, Consultant in IVF Reproductive Medicine. And the Advocate Divyanshu Priyam, sir, Legal Professional in Healthcare Laws, ART and Surrogacy Regulations. Now I would like to request my moderators, Dr. Aradhana Gupta ma'am and Dr. Richa Samadia ma'am. Dr. Aradhana Gupta ma'am is the director of Aradhana Test Tube Baby Center at Bhopal, and Dr. Richa Samadia ma'am, head of the Department of Reproductive Medicine, Bansal Hospital, Bhopal. Aradhana ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Jayashree. I think we have already lost a very valuable time, and hardly 15 minutes are left. I don't know
No,
how
no,
to complete.
Dr. Radha, if you people don't mind, we can go on to 8:30. But
Okay,
if we can give you that much time.
okay.
If you
So,
people are fine with
this,
it, we can go on till 8:30.
okay, thank you, Dr. Nidhi, for giving us this extra, half an hour. Um, I think my slides are visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so today's topic of this panel is ART under the Act, navigating clinical challenges in new regulatory era. So I have made this, this panel on the basis of cases, and they are the real cases. So let's go one by one, because Miss Moini Priya has already told us that there are some gray zones. A few things are not very clear under the law, and these are the problem which make a little bit of us in a dilemma. Then should we go further or not? like a reproductive, the reproductive thing. It is like we should go for the reproduction or not towards, because the consents are different for the husband and for the wife. And and Dr. Parag has already given us a very good idea about the law. So I'll not, take these slides in a detail. This is section 2 of the law, which says what is ART, and everyone should understand, because there is a lot of issues when when people, they keep on asking, can I stimulate my patient? Can I go for the even ovulation study? Can I give SCG injection and so and so? So we should, and even people, they ask, can we go for the semen analysis because we are handling the gamete? So you should understand what is ART as per law. Okay, so all the technique that attempt to obtain pregnancy. So number one, if we are handling the gamete, we are doing it to attain the pregnancy. Number one. Number two, after handling the gamete, we put them back inside the womb of a female. So that is another very important, and that is why semen analysis can be done at any lab, anyone, any center. Whosoever can do the semen analysis qualified enough. So these are the few things you should understand. And there's nothing written that you can't give letrozole, you can't give HMG injection, you can't give SCG injection. Okay. So these are something. So the ART relates only with the procedure which are related to ART. One is the IUI, another is the IVF, freezing, cryopreservation, and PGT, and so on. Okay. And surrogacy is the totally different part of the act. So documentation, as he already told, is really very important, not only to protect us, it is to protect patient, donors, and their children also. So these are the very important thing. ART law, why this ART law? Already we had a very heated discussion regarding this, why this law was important, why it was created, because people were doing like left, right, center, anything, putting even 10 embryos inside, doing so many things which should not been done, and that is why this has come into the picture. So they what are the objectives of act? So number one, you should know the regulation and supervision, prevention of misuse. So it curb the unethical, unsafe, and exploitative practices. People, they used to flaunt that I have made pregnant 64-year-old lady and this and that. So these things should not, or triplet, quadruplet, and was, God knows. So these like a Farah, she was carrying the triplets. So these are the things which came into the mind of the regulators, and they have created this law. Like a lot of single men were getting the babies, like a Tushar and film stars, and so these are the things which should be curbed, and safe and ethical practice should come into the picture. Protection of right is another thing, because if babies are getting born without any written documents, without any legality, people may disown them. That was happened with the this case, Baby Maji. Baby Maji Yamada versus Union of India. What went wrong over there in 2008, and the foreign commissioning couple separated. No clarity on parentage, because there was nothing, no legal document, proper legal document. There was no law relating with this new technology that time. And it is like a very fast it was developing. And there was nothing like related to what would be the citizenship. Then child left legally stateless, because they said now we are separated, we don't want child. And the surrogate who was pregnant, she was not having this clarity ki, like whom to give this child, and the child left legally stateless. And then the course observation was ki, like a sense of a statutory framework exposes children, doctor, and clinical to legal chaos. So there are a lot of legal chaos relating such children, and that is why the duty of intending parents, duty of surrogate, duty of couple, commissioning couple, every person, and duty of the center. The all they have a fixed duties, and they are bound to do their work under that legal framework. So everyone should understand what are the like duties of ART clinic, duties of ART bank, the donor, what is your responsibility towards the donor, and there are so many things, and that is why donors are insured. Not the semen donor, because they don't have this risky procedure, anything like that. So it is only for the oocyte donor. Then insurance for the surrogate also. That is for the 3 years, because even post delivery they may have some complications, and this is for 1 year for the donors. So there is a grievance cell also. So these are all are things. There are few definitions they have given so that you can understand what this particular term means what. So now, Richa, would you take this case one? Dr. Richa, she is
Yes,
my
ma'am.
coordinator.
Yes, ma'am. Sure,
Okay.
ma'am. Good evening, Neeti ma'am. Good evening, everyone. It's a great pleasure to moderate this session with Aradhna ma'am. She has a vast experience and knowledge in the legal aspects of ART. So now proceeding with our first case, a Muslim couple where husband was 35-year-old with severe oats and wife was 33-year-old, and she was diagnosed with premature ovarian insufficiency, and therefore they were advised egg donation. So the man brought second wife also for IVF and requested to make her as a donor for the first wife. So my question is, can my question for Dr. Payal Raghuvanshi, can you directly stimulate the second wife as donor in this case?
Hi, ma'am. Good afternoon. Good evening, everyone. Yes, ma'am. In this case, we can stimulate the second wife, but if she fulfills the donor criteria, she should fulfill all the donor criteria, and she should give consent, and she should also know
So,
that she will
Dr.
not have any
Payal,
legal right on this child, if at all
may I
it
interrupt,
needs to
Dr.
be.
Payal?
Yes, ma'am.
What question would you ask? Because say, there is nothing given in this question about the second wife. So
Hmm.
what are the questions which would come into your mind that if I want to take her as a donor, then from where I should start? Okay. So can you
First, ma'am, I shall be.
yeah.
Yes, ma'am. First, I shall be asking the second wife that whether she wants to act as a donor for this couple, because in this she can later on she can feel that I have the right on this child, as he's the husband also. So first we have to counsel both the wives that if the
So
second wife is donating.
I think before jumping to the patient wish, we will see the eligibility. That she
Eligibility
is
criteria.
Yes,
eligible. I
obviously.
mean, she fit to become a donor. So her age is a very important part. Dr. Parag has already told us that age you put your
Yes, ma'am.
somewhere
Yes,
poster
ma'am.
in your
That's
clinic. So the people they should I mean even your
Yes, ma'am. She should
counselor or
fulfill the
assistant.
criteria of
Yeah.
age and other criterias which we see. Her age should be in between 23 to 35 years of age. She should be less than 35, and she should. We will get her all the tests done which we get for the donors, like all the infection panel, all routine blood profile, and we will verify. We will see her Aadhaar card. We will identify the Aadhaar card of the patient, and then we will further proceed with this case.
Okay, so I mean, is it okay if she's not having, obviously that because husband is severe old, so she's not having her any child in her life, or and very important is that you have to ask if she is her, because this is a second wife. Muslim men can afford even four wives, so you can ask like if you have previous marriage, maybe this is her second marriage. Okay, so this is also important if she is having any child from the previous marriage. So these are the few things I think we should keep in the mind, because although there is nothing like in the law that she should have her own children, any donor, or even if she is married, even unmarried lady who is fulfilling the criteria of donor can become a donor. Okay, so this is thing number one, and number two, I mean, how would you proceed for this donor thing, you know so what the husband wife that I want a baby from this lady as well as from the another lady by using her as a donor. So how do you proceed, matlab just elaborate the thing. you would stimulate and then divide the eggs in between the two, or how would you do such things?
No, ma'am. We can't divide the eggs in
That
between
is a
the
very
two.
important point. No, you
No,
should
no,
bring
we
this
can't
point
mix
to
the
all the
gametes.
people who are listening. Yeah.
We
So
cannot mix the
how will you
gametes.
proceed? Yeah.
This has to be routed through an ART bank. Like without registering in the ART bank, we cannot just directly stimulate the
Yes,
secondary
this is a very
fescue.
important point. You know, you have to, you can't stimulate. That is why I wrote this thing. Can you directly stimulate the second wife as a donor? So Dr. Tina has highlighted this point. You can't directly stimulate. Dr. Shilpa Dodani is running her bank also. Dr. Shilpa, can you tell us the criteria for oocyte donor selection and how to, I mean, register this his wife as a donor?
Ma'am, this patient is coming to a IVF clinic level 2. So she has to go to ART bank, get herself
Yes.
registered, the donor, and then the ART bank will screen the donor for all the tests, and they'll make a affidavit from her. They will take all the due consents of the donor, and then they can send the patient back to the IVF center to level 2 IVF
So,
center.
Dr. Shilpa, I would like to know that I mean, proceeding for the counseling, which she was asking, we will ask the second wife, ma'am, in psychologically, if you are okay with this. So, is it like a part of the bank or it is a part of the clinic?
It is a part of clinic. But
Yeah.
first we
So,
counsel the patient about the
let
detail of
Shilpa,
everything.
Dr. Preeti, let Shilpa, I will come to you also.
Okay, okay.
Shilpa,
The
please.
ART bank only ensures that the patient is eligible or not. Her
Okay.
age, her blood test, her
So,
own consent.
donor counseling, who is doing donor counseling? Because it's not always like the donor will come directly to the clinic and they will send to you. Then who
If
will do
the
the counseling?
if the donor is selected by the IVF level 2 clinic already, and they just want a registration from the ART bank, then the counseling will be done by the IVF
So,
level 2 clinic
is it
only.
anything written in the law that if we are having this donor and we are sending to you, then we have to do the counseling and then send to you? Or if it is like something, is it written in the law like that? Ki if they are recruiting the donor, then they will do the counseling and clinic will not do. I mean,
No.
Shilpa,
There's
be
no
specific.
there's no such rule.
You have
But
to.
the bank is very bank doesn't knows about the background. They just know that this patient has
So,
come as a
I would like to know, do you have a counselor in your bank?
not in the bank. We have both ART level 2 and bank both, but we
So,
don't keep
ART bank, they are not doing counseling for the donor? Who is doing the then donor counseling?
donor
If you
counseling.
are recruiting the donor,
Hmm.
if you are providing us the donor, then who will do the counseling? Obviously, I am not going to do the counseling once you have recruited the donor. Then who will have the counselor for the donor?
See, mainly, ma'am, ART bank is only supposed to do all the basic tests,
Doctor,
select the patient.
I would like to
Aradhana,
ask this question with Advocate Divyanshu.
Advocate Divyanshu can
Uh,
come in
that
here.
is what I'm saying. So, Mr. Divyanshu, can you just elaborate this thing, because there is a little confusion. Shilpa is saying if you are sending donor to us, you counsel and then we will take the donor, or if we are recruiting the donor, then we will counsel. I mean, I don't think there is a this criteria is particularly given in the law. So,
Good
Mr.
evening.
Divyanshu, yeah.
Good evening, ma'am. Thank you for asking this question. First of all, the patient, the donor, has to be routed in this scenario, has to be routed through the ART bank.
Exactly.
The ART bank has to inform and take an informed consent of the lady that this is the procedure. You are not going to have any parentage. You are not going to be able to claim any parentage over the child whenever it happens, if it
Exactly.
happens, if it happens. And then the same, since this case is a little complicated, then also in any case the donor should be counseled by doctor as well as by the ART bank both,
So
and her
here,
informed consent
yeah.
should be taken.
So here, as Advocate Divyanshu has said, first counseling will be done by the ART bank, because they are going to tell what we are you are going to. I mean, what are the rights of the the baby which is born, and what is the your rights, your insurance and other things, and what is the procedure. Then whenever donor come to us through the bank, even we always tell about the procedure. What is ovum pickup, what are the risk, what is the anesthesia risk. These all things we discuss. But the legal counseling, first legal counseling is done always by the ART bank, not by the center, because legal counseling is a part of the bank. They are recruiting the donors. So Shilpa, be careful about this thing. You should have a legal counselor in your bank who will take care of all these things, that to tell about the rights of the women, rights of the child, and she cannot claim the baby later on. So
Yeah,
these all things will be
we take
at
the
the bank.
signatures on an affidavit that she won't be.
तो तो
But
who will counsel? It's not
yeah,
कि
we have to
साइन करना
counsel.
यहाँ साइन कर दो, है ना? ऐसे तो नहीं करेंगे ना अपन लोग.
Right.
Somebody
And
must counsel ना, somebody
she
must
need
tell
Doctor,
she
what
Radhana,
we are
needs to
doing.
be made understood the contents of the affidavit. She needs
Exactly,
to be made
exactly.
understood that what she's signing on. So that is what we are calling it informed consent.
Yes, and that is why when she comes to us for the ovum pickup or for the stimulation, we tell about the form 6, and we tell about the ovum pickup form number 12. Okay, so we discuss all the matter which is written on in these form, we discuss with her. So this is our part of the counseling. So everybody should understand their duty and responsibility, and that is the motto of bringing this case.
Dr.
Okay.
Radhana, can I come in here, please?
Yeah, Dr. Neetu.
So, when you said that a legal counselor is required at ART bank, so there is no such requirement from the
So
act.
it's not a legal counselor, Dr. Nidhi. I am in the all
It's
the
not a
legal
legal
formalities
counselor,
you
but
have to explain. That is
oh,
what I'm
you
saying.
have
It's
to be
not some
explained.
advocate. It's not like advocate should be.
ART
We
bank
are not having
give it
advocate.
in writing
Our
that she has
center.
been counseled. The
Yeah.
ART bank should give it in writing that the donor has been counseled properly and in her own
Yes,
language.
so you have to counsel, no? It's not like the center will send all these detail will tell and then send to you. It's your job, okay? And our job is on the day of the when once she enter into the cycle willingly, then we will tell what we are going to do and what are the consequences, anesthesia complication, other complication, and other things. Okay. So now next come for the screening test for a donor, Dr. Preeti. Could you tell us what screening tests are as per law? We should go for the donor, although we are doing some test extra whatever list is given, but here we are discussing as per law what are the screening tests to be done in a donor. So when the donor come to you, you have a checklist. So you need to check, is she having this Aadhaar card, she is having this test done. So you must be knowing what are the screening tests for a donor to be done. So Dr. Preeti, please.
Yeah. Yes, screening test for the donor is very, very important. That is mainly done by the ART bank because the donor is coming from there. We have to check the list whether she is having any medical disorder, she is suffering from the something disease
No,
that
no,
can
you
affect.
just no. You just tell me the list of the investigation which are written in the law. Okay,
Okay, there's a
specify.
routine investigation is required.
I don't
Just
think it's given in the law.
nahi, that is a
And I'm
screening
asking
test for
about
the
the law.
viral
Only the
marker is important. HIV, hepatitis,
only
HCV,
the
BTR
only
and the.
whatever given in the law. We are doing so many things. That's true.
Okay,
We are
that is
doing
mainly
HPSC
screening
and
test for
other
the
things, but
viral marker is
HPSC is
very,
not
very
given in the
important.
law. So what
Okay.
are the viral markers? Name them, na, because we
HIV,
have the list.
hepatitis B, SCV, VDRL, and the chlamydia.
Chlamydia is not given in the law, beta.
It
है
is
ना?
written in the law.
No,
I
it's not written. Anybody can take this question. Can anybody say कि it is written in the law? Miss
Not
Divyanshi?
in the not in the Indian law, but in the ASRM
No,
guidelines.
I am talking about
Chlamydia is
India,
not
यार. हम लोग इंडिया में रह रहे हैं.
chlamydia is not
Ma'am,
there.
in not
हो
given in
सकता
India.
है डॉक्टर आदम मैंने कहीं
नहीं
पढ़ा होगा
And
इसलिए
नहीं
दैट्स
बेटा,
व्हाई
chlamydia
क्लैमाइडिया
is
यू आर
not
वेरी
there, ma'am.
राइट. मैं बता रही हूँ प्रीति को कहाँ कंफ्यूजन है. इन फर्स्ट जब हमारे पास आया था ये पूरा डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, उसमें क्लैमाइडिया मेंशन था.
या
बट जब फाइनली हमारे पास बन के आया तो दे हैव, और उस समय उसमें वीडीआरएल नहीं था. दे हैव नॉट, तो वीडीआरएल दे हैव एडेड इन अ लेटर. ठीक है.
थैंक
तो
यू
now the what is the way out, Dr. Ishrat, and finally Dr. Ishrat will tell us कि कैसे इन दोनों को बच्चा मिले. Ishrat, Dr. Ishrat is here. Has she joined?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Okay, Dr. Ishrat, can you tell us how these two, ladies will get pregnant? What are the way out for the ART center to make them pregnant? both of
Ma'am,
them.
as already the previous wife, which is being considered as a commissioning couple, she is already having low reserve. So, like the second wife, if she is fulfilling the criteria, she is having good AMH, so we can stimulate her as a donor in the first cycle by registration through the ART bank. And then after taking out her
अरे
oocyte
पहले
and
उसको अपना
doing
ही बच्चा होने दो यार। जल्दी डोनर बनाने की क्या पड़ी है?
Ma'am, actually already donor cycle was
So
advised,
basically,
no? So
I mean, it's their wish, है ना? It's all the three people can be counseled and it's their wish कि पहले आप उसको खुद को प्रेग्नेंट करना चाहते हैं या फिर आप पहले डोनर बनना चाहते हैं। तो इशरत इज वेरी करेक्ट, शी कैन बी अ डोनर बिकॉज अदरवाइज दिस विल बी डिलेड। तो ये भी एक अच्छा ये एक क्वेश्चन, आई मीन इसको जस्टिफाई करने के लिए हो सकता है पॉइंट कि शी कैन बी लाइक फर्स्ट आई डोनेट सो दैट यू नो शी विल फुलफिल हर विश एंड वेरी नेक्स्ट साइकिल आई कैन बिकम माई फ्रॉम मी। सो इस तरह से। तो हाँ श्योर यू कंप्लीट।
she can conceive naturally. We don't know whether she can conceive naturally or
नो
not. If the
हस्बैंड इज हैविंग
husband is
सीवियर हो
having,
गया यार,
okay.
मैंने पहले ही लिख दिया। देयर इज
Yeah,
अ मेल
okay, okay.
फैक्टर व्हिच इज
Got it.
प्रिवेलिंग, है ना?
So
बाकी
first,
चीजें बाद में।
basically, it should be the mutual this consent between all three. So like whether which like embryo trans which has to be ICSI has to be done with for which couple in whether the first wife or for the second wife. So it will depends on whether what consent she will give. She wanted to
तो
be donor first or she wanted to be a
ओके, अब यहाँ
own.
पे ना एक ग्लिच है थोड़ा सा। लाइक वो उसकी वाइफ शी सेज कि और हस्बैंड इज आल्सो अग्रीड दैट व्हाई कांट टू यू स्प्लिट द एग्स, है ना? गिव गिव मी द हाफ फॉर माय दिस वाइफ एंड गिव हाफ टू फॉर दिस वाइफ, है ना?
As per the ART law, we cannot do this, ma'am. This
ओके सो
the
यू कांट डू
mixing we
मिक्सिंग।
cannot do. Yeah,
यस,
as per the ART.
can't do mixing. So she has to undergo two IVF cycle, one for herself and another for this as a donor. Okay, so the this is sorted out. Does second wife has any right on the baby delivered by first wife, Dr. Nikunj? Dr. Nikunj, are
Yes,
you
yes,
here?
I'm there.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm there, ma'am. Am I audible?
yeah, very, very much.
I wish a very good evening to all the everyone present here for the discussion. So this is a very relevant question and already been discussed by Dr. Advocate Divyanshu. So as per the ART law, the donor, whether male or female, does not bear any parental right over the child by the ART by his or her donation of gametes. So the donor has to relinquish all his parental rights or his or her parental rights. So definitely the second wife doesn't have any rights or the parental rights over the baby delivered to the first wife.
Okay. So she has very rightly explained everything. The rights of the child born through ART is the just like any biological child, and the donor relinquishes all parental right over any child, and this is given in the section 31. So everybody should understand. Doctor, now I would like to get the expert comment. First, Dr. Tina, can you tell about the confidentiality? Because there are two words as the doctor, I think Parag has highlighted, or Miss Moini, I don't know, that there is a anonymity and confidentiality. These two are totally separate things. So, Dr. Tina, can you tell us
Yeah.
what term is here? Because anonymity तो खत्म ही हो गई, है
In
ना?
this particular case, since the commissioning couple and the gamete donor are known to each other, so they are not anonymous. And as per the new ART law, it's not a compulsory thing. The
Yes.
previously it
That's
was
a very
not there.
important thing. Tina has highlighted very important thing. Nothing, no, nowhere anonymity word is written in the law. Yes, in ICMR guideline it was mentioned
Yes, yes.
anonymity, but now ICMR guideline has no value. Now we have to look for this law thing.
But
So
we need to maintain the confidentiality. Like we are
yeah,
not supposed to expose these details, documents, to anyone else besides the commissioning couple or the gamete donor. And we need to maintain all the records also related to the same thing.
exactly. So you have to keep all these records secret. And as Dr. Parag said that you put a lock and keep the key with you of the all the documents, so nobody can see any document of any patient because there is a question of confidentiality. I want to have some expert comment on this case if something they want to add.
There was one question, Advocate Divyanshu. Do you think this case has any legal issues?
Technically, this case does not bear any legal issues. But if we look at it through Islamic laws, then it does. But since this has come an act, then it does not have any legal issue at present.
But what is the issue
But
with the Islam
when,
law?
wha-
What is the issue with the
ma'am,
Muslim law? I don't
Islamic
think
laws
Muslim law
does
is banned this.
m-
Huh.
no, Muslim law does not allow this. It it will always consider the egg donor as the actual. Sorry, the bearer as the actual owner of the child, actual parent of the child, and there is something on the donation as well,
Okay, so
donation
so
part as
when
well.
I was in the 40s, so that time we used to get so many patients from the Muslim countries, okay, Iraq,
Hmm.
Uzbekistan, Iran, and Afghanistan, and so many places. They
Mm-hmm.
say, although because I am also in a LLB, so what I have read about the Muslim law is that they don't permit the donor semen. I mean, donor sperm cannot be put in any lady inside, and that is what I have learned when I was in 40s. They used to say we can take donor egg, but because they SCB they have a multiple wives, so the question is that we don't want semen from the any other person. So the problem is when the husband is having azoospermia, they used to go to any level of treatment, but they don't want to put any semen sample in their ladies.
No,
So
Dr.
this is
Aradhana,
what.
I don't agree with this. I don't agree with this because we also deal with a lot of Muslim couples, and they are quite averse to idea of taking donor eggs. They are not ready. They
So
will
I
keep on.
thought
They
the
will
the
keep
place
on
by
trying
place
with.
little bit of
They will keep on trying with
things
one or
are.
two sites every cycle. They will keep on trying with one or two side. They will have three, four cycles, and they will keep on trying with two eggs, but they will not take donor eggs easily. So I think what
Maybe place to place there is some variation. So next, but we should avoid, as per our advocate, we should avoid doing such thing if the Muslim law is not permitting. Okay. So next, come to the this confidentiality is already we have done. Consent thing is already been done.
I
You
would
should.
like just like to
Yeah,
add one thing,
yeah,
ma'am.
yeah. Please,
Since
please.
it is permitted by the law, we should do it.
Yeah.
There is no bar, as there is a specific act allowing donor. There is no discrimination for as per the religious, you know, religious temperament or religious schools. So we should do it. There is no bar on it. So we should not avoid it.
So basically, what is in the law that
That should be followed.
whenever there is a some kind of the controversy between the I mean national law kind of the thing and the personal law, then
uh,
always the law which is
national law will
like
take.
for the complete for the nation that rules over the personal law, and that was the
Exactly, ma'am.
case हमको पता ही है कितना बड़ा
Exactly, ma'am.
जिसके ऊपर मूवी भी बनी है शाहबानो और वट एवर तो इसलिए वी कैन गो अहेड विदाउट गेटिंग दिस लीगल एनी इश्यूज विद अस सो केस टू रिचा प्लीज टेक दिस केस दिस इज
Yes,
रिचा
ma'am.
के आईआरसी सेंटर में हुआ
Yes, ma'am. So my question is for Dr. Ishrat. In my center, one OPU was planned, and my embryologist informed at the last moment that she will not be able to come due to procedural delay at some another center. So please help me out in this situation. What are my alternatives in this case, Dr. Ishrat?
Okay, so like you don't have a full like your is a level 2 na
Yes,
level 1
level two.
level 2. Okay, so your you have a full time embryologist which is not available at the time of
Yes,
OPU.
yes.
Okay. Um, so we can it is we can call another embryologist if it is being having MOU with your center as being as we are doing in this PCPNDT thing now we know that radiologists come to a
This is
particular
one
center in
alternative.
particular
This is number one alternative. That if you have a one more embryologist, which has, who is like having a MOU, and
freelancer
you
or
have
something. Yeah.
given the name in the your authorities, then you can ask. Okay, अगर वो भी नहीं आ रहा, अब क्या करें? What is the another alternative? उसने बोला मैं तो दूसरी जगह busy हूँ because I go to multiple centers. Just like
If
anesthetic,
you
yeah, it happens with anesthetist. So similarly, it may happen with the, once, I mean, before the law, Dr. Kamath used to come to me, और एक दिन उनकी मुंबई से फ्लाइट कैंसिल ही हो गई, एंड ही सेड कि आराधना मेरी फ्लाइट कैंसिल हो गई, ना आई वाज लाइक 3 पिकअप मेरे वहां लाइंड अप, तो मैंने कहा सर कैसे करेंगे, मैं क्या करूं, तो संडे फिर आई वाज रियली पजल्ड बिकॉज
शिव देविक की मम्मी का फोन आ रहा है, विनायक को बोल देना
I was
चला
like
ले जाना उसको।
shifted to MP from
भी कुछ मत बोलो।
Delhi, और यहाँ बहुत कम लोगों को जानती थी, तो फिर फाइनली वो तो मैं बच गई, सर ने रायपुर की फ्लाइट ली, रायपुर से फिर वो यहाँ भोपाल आया एंड ऑल देन द थिंग्स, एंड दैट डे आई रियलाइज आई शुड कीप वन मोर पर्सन, इफ समथिंग हैपन लाइक
yes,
दैट, तब
you
मैंने
should keep a backup, like another embryologist
यू
for
नो
this
तो
emergency.
ये बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है, उस समय तो लॉ नहीं था, तो आई कुड हैव कॉल टू एनीवन, बट
Yes.
नाउ द थिंग्स हैव बीन टोटली डिफरेंट, सो व्हाट इज द अनदर ऑल्टरनेटिव इफ वी इफ नो एम्ब्रियोलॉजिस्ट इज अवेलेबल, आई मीन ऑफ योर विद whom you have MOU, और अभी आपके पिकअप में काफी टाइम है, लाइक ऐसा भी नहीं है, सुबह उसने इन्फॉर्म किया कि आज पूरे दिन मेरा मैं वापस गया एंड आई कांट कम.
We can shift the patient to another center.
So I think this
Every
is a
center.
very good alternative. Ishrat is, she has said, ये तो you should have a tie-up with one more setup. कि कभी मेरे
Yes.
यहाँ प्रॉब्लम होगी तो तुम मैनेज करोगे, तुम्हारे यहाँ प्रॉब्लम होगी तो मैं करूंगी. तो इंस्टेड ऑफ कॉलिंग somebody, जैसे अभी डॉक्टर पराग has said कि लाइक अगर आप पकड़े गए ना कि somebody else is doing is a
Yeah, ghost
ghost
operator. Yes.
that is the thing which is really important, then you will be trapped, and god knows what action will be taken, because I am in the state authority, I am a member of a state authority, and even I don't know what is the action we would take, but it's something which is should not be done. So
जो ये
this is a very
एम्ब्रायोलॉजिस्ट
good
जहाँ पर
alternative.
काम कर रहा है उधर में ही भेज दो, वही क्लिनिक
So,
पे।
I think Dr. Parag is a very good expert in this scene. So he can tell us like what are the other alternatives we are having.
No, no, no. That is the alternative. Like if some embryologist is busy in other center, so better to either tie up with that the nearby center, or you send that patient to that particular center where that embryologist can
There
take
is
care.
one more alternative, Dr.
We
Parag.
can,
See,
we can, we
every
can ask
clinician
them.
must to know how
Yeah.
to do screening
Yes.
and how
Yes.
to do
And
IVF.
No
At least
second.
आपको
Yeah.
XC नहीं आता, कम से कम IVF लगाना तो
we
सीख
can
ही
do
लो.
IVF if,
Yes,
yes, every
है ना?
clinician should know.
We can keep
So
the eggs for incubation, and by the time they are ready for
by the
examination,
time
our
maybe he will
embryologist
come.
might be free and he
दो
can
घंटे
come
बाद
and
XC
do.
करना है, और अदरवाइज यू डू IVF और खत्म करो किस्सा. So this
Yes,
is the
this is the
third
third
alternative.
option. Third alternative.
So, Dr. Tina, question is another. Can she call any other embryologist? तो जैसे इशरत ने बताया,
Any embryologist who is in like mutual contract with that particular center can come. Otherwise, no other embryologist we can call.
so I think now we clinicians should also little bit of embryology thing should at least screening should be. I mean
Yes,
everybody
screening
must.
should be done at least.
Screening is a thing which you should know. So now the question is Dr. Payal. Dr. Payal. Hello, Dr. Payal.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Yeah. Can an embryologist working at or at I mean multiple center or provide services to multiple IVF centers simultaneously? I mean, is there anything written in the law? Because we are, this time dealing as per law. So please tell me.
Yes, ma'am. An embryologist can work with more than one center, but they have to specify their days and time, like as we do in PNDT, that he's
Dr. Payal, where are
performing the
you?
procedures from Monday
Where
to
is your
Wednesday
center?
at one center. My center
Where
is at Nova IVF, ma'am, near ISBT.
it is in Bhopal. So
Yes, ma'am, it is in Bhopal.
okay. So when you got registered, so that time have they had this kind of the performa कि आपका embryologist कितने बजे से कितने बजे तक रहेगा, इतने से इतने
नहीं
बजे
नहीं
तक.
मैम, ये अभी अमेंडमेंट में आए हैं,
अभी नहीं.
पहले
So
उसमें
this
तो नहीं था ये कि
okay.
एम्ब्रियोलॉजिस्ट कैन मतलब कैन
These
वर्क एट
these
डिफरेंट
things are varying from
प्लेसेस,
state to state, and
बट
that is why I'm
एज
asking. तो
Ma'am, but
हमारे
these
यहाँ
are
भी
the
ऐसा नहीं हुआ है.
chains
is
now.
it
What is I
ma'am, sorry,
experience having about the chains? They are calling embryologists from their another centers because they are having multiple centers. Now these are the chains, chain IVF like Nova and Birla. They are
ma'am, but
having
one
they
center
call
will have
embryologists.
one
Dr.
each
Richa,
level 2 center
Dr.
will have
Richa is
their own
working at
one
Bansal.
embryologist of their own always, no ma'am.
Yes,
Dr.
they have
Richa,
full-time
Yes,
embryologists, not
ma'am.
full-time always. But if
what
sometimes this
about the Bansal
embryologist is
Hospital? Do you have this time thing which is usually we are doing with the ultrasound machine?
No, no, ma'am. We don't have it right now.
So in Hyderabad, I will come to know. Okay, I will take this little bit of idea with the advocate Divyanshu. Are these things are common in each and every state, or the state by state the things get differ? Advocate Divyanshu.
State by state, things differ. Earlier, only this embryologist thing, the timing was only being taken by Delhi. Later, all these states took this into consideration and they started taking this कि इस time से इस time तक आपका embryologist यहाँ है, that too an affidavit. So if that person is found to be at somewhere else rather than being at that point, then it is wrong. And moreover, I would rest, आप लोगों ने सब कुछ cover कर लिया. I just want to add one thing. National board as well as the appropriate authority should be informed about any embryologist working at your center that this is the person, this is change in my manpower, this is the embryologist, he is qualified. He should,
That too 1 month before. That too 1 month before. You know?
ma'am,
So,
yes.
I
before
have a
hiring
question.
someone. 1
Yes,
month
ma'am, if
before
you're hiring
hiring
someone.
Hmm.
So, ma'am,
Ma'am.
this should be, please go ahead, ma'am.
Please.
Ma'am, I have a question. Supposedly, in this case, like if we are calling some other embryologist, we don't have an MOU with any other embryologist. Our embryologist falls sick on that day and he can't come. Then what will be the documentation? Because we haven't informed any. We will inform
you
that
can't,
day
you
only to
can't
the
call
state
embryologist. You
authority
have to
that this
send to your
case is
patient.
being.
You know,
Ma'am,
that is why we are
then
discussing
you
it.
should not do the case at all, ma'am.
Bilkul.
I
You should
will.
not
I will
do
have
like
to
this.
shift the patient to that
To some other
any
clinic,
other
ma'am.
center.
Exactly. You should not do. And in fact, I am in my center has given my designation as clinician as well as the embryologist. So that is a safeguard. So I can do screening. I can do other embryology procedure
That is what
because
I
I
was
have.
about to come to, Dr. Radha. When you
Yeah.
said that you screen your oocyte, Advocate Divyanshu, how legally appropriate it is for a clinician to do this job of embryologist?
Ma'am, embryologist, will they be doing the ICSI? Will they be doing everything, or will they just be, helping out in the extraction of oocyte? That is what
So
because they
here,
should.
I'll tell one thing because
I
we
think,
have the format.
I think
We
Dr.
have a
Parag
format
wants to add
and the
something.
exact
I think
no,
Dr. Parag wants to add something.
no, there is a format where this is the job of embryologist. Okay, screening.
Yeah.
And then all these things.
Exactly.
I am doing at my center all these things because I have given my name as embryologist. So that is what I am saying. Ki you should know embryology also so that you can put your name as an embryologist also. But for that now the things have been totally changed.
The
It is
training
now
has to be
after 4 years.
complete.
Yes,
Yeah.
after 4 years you can give, or if your center has already crossed 4 years, now you can add your name as an embryologist.
No,
And it
madam,
is in the
madam,
law,
master,
like legally,
master
can we
plan.
put our name as a embryologist? Like if you're,
See,
should we need a
actually,
certificate or training kind of thing?
that is what
I'm
I'm
not
saying.
saying I am
Our centers
clarifying
were
this.
the old center. Dr. Parag,
Yeah.
those centers who are already running more than
No,
3 years,
I'm telling you,
they could have.
this is a scenario. You must have a master's in clinical embryology full time.
Yes.
Without
So
that,
that,
an MBBS
now
or
it is not
any
possible.
degree
Yes.
cannot work in lab, starting from any screening to any transfer lab
Exactly.
part.
Exactly.
So now
That
it
is
is
required.
really difficult. Now it is like you have to go for the embryology masters in embryology. But when we had got registered, so because our center was like already some old center, so that time the things were comparatively easier to get, and now it's really
Ma'am,
difficult.
maybe the concerned authority did not look into it properly. That is the reason you might have gotten this
No,
yourself
no,
registered
Divyanshu,
as
that time,
embryologist.
no, I am telling you that time it was a law that those centers who are already running more than 3 years, they don't need this particular 50 OPU and all these requirements. And
And
as
that is
well as
true.
for
That
the
is true.
embryologists, as well as for the embryologists, if you are working for more than 5 years, then again you don't need this particular thing.
Ma'am,
That
Yes,
still
time,
yes.
you
All
needed,
centers
still you needed.
before ART law, centers which were functioning before ART law, their
yes,
clinician even doesn't have the that clinical embryology degree can pursue as an embryologist.
yes.
Yes, it was that.
The
Yes.
only thing that you have worked for 5 years in an IVF center. So you have exposure of life because at that time everybody was doing everything. So it was something like that.
Ma'am,
So,
then let me throw in a question to
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
What would happen in a case when there is an embryo mix-up or when there is a gamete mix-up in this scenario? Who will be responsible for it?
Obviously, the person who is sitting in the lab. So if clinician is sitting in the lab, he will be the responsible.
So who will be the
So
signing? Who will be signing on the this embryo once
if
once
I
this?
have if I have designated myself as a clinician as well as embryologist, there are a lot of clinicians who are doing embryology also. Dr. Varsha, she's doing the ICSI also. And I think Dr. Shilpa is already trained in ICSI. I don't know. I mean, she was before this or after this. I don't know.
I have taken
So
SR training of 1 year.
So, I mean, but I don't know. I mean, you have given your name that time only when the law, I mean, was like that. Ki previous center can run as it
Um,
is. So,
that was only a one-time thing that was given just when the
so
act
that is
had
only
come in.
one time thing. Yes.
Yes, and that is only the one-time thing, that
बिल्कुल उस
one-time
समय
benefit that was passed on. It
exactly.
will it will
अब
not
तो
be.
it's not possible. अब तो
It
it's
is
not
not possible at
not
all, ma'am.
So,
yes.
ma'am, if we are doing screening at our center, aren't we comparable to the ghost embryologist as
बिल्कुल you should not do
Dr.
actually. You
mentioned?
should not do. I am doing because I am designated as an embryologist also. That is why I am doing. But otherwise you should not do. So this is the idea behind.
So, ma'am, the take-home message after this case discussion that we should have a MOU signed with another center as well as a time display of our embryologist.
Yes, time display, it is not in Bhopal right now. I mean, not in our state because it was started with my center first. So the team, when they come for the inspection, I told them that like embryologists are like anesthetists, and even we don't know ki which time our case will fall. Sometimes patient they take a wrong trigger, So that is why please don't put the time thing because sometimes things get different. इट्स नॉट अ स्पेसिफिक टाइम कि 2 घंटे में सब कुछ खत्म हो ही जाएगा देयर आर सो मेनी अभी लास्ट टाइम ही मेरा वो लेमिनार फ्लो का बल्ब भी फ्यूज हो गया 20-25 मिनट उसमें एक्स्ट्रा लग गए है ना वो तो लकीली हम लोग थोड़ा सा एक गैप दे के स्टार्ट करते हैं पिकअप तो समटाइम्स और उसका एक सी लगाने में भी टाइम एक्स्ट्रा लग गया इसीलिए तो इट हैपेंस ना तो इसलिए एकदम फिक्स टाइम तो हम नहीं दे सकते आई सेड एंड दैट इज वाई भोपाल में एवरीथिंग इज गुड दैट वे
Dr.
बट
Aradhana,
सम
it is
हाँ
8:30 now.
yeah we should
A very
go fast.
interesting discussion is going on, and I really don't want to stop it.
So
But
we'll take one case more only, है ना? And Richa, please take this PMOS case.
Yes, ma'am. A patient with PMS is stimulated for IUA at a level 1 ART center, but she developed multiple follicles and now at significant risk of multiple pregnancy and OHSS as well. So, can the treating gynecologist refer or shift the patient to level 2 ART center for OPU? This question is for Shilpa ma'am, Dr. Shilpa Dodani ma'am.
Yes, yes, she can be shifted because it will be helpful for her. Will aspirate all her oocytes, though we may not get any oocyte because she might not have been started with cetrorelix or some antac cycle along with it because she was just stimulated.
Little I just wanted to know can you shift to any center चलो ये पास में यहाँ भेज दो वो पास में उधर भेज दो पेशेंट कह
No,
रही है
the
मैं वहां
one,
आ जाऊंगी हाँ
no,
तो
no, the one
वो
with
पॉइंट पहले लीगल पॉइंट पहले
you should have MOU with one or two
yes
ART level 2 centers that I'm doing my level 2 over there and level 1 at my center. So if anytime you have any problem, you can just go there and get the ovum pickup done over there. It
Ma'am,
has to.
anything else
do
you
it
want to do at your own center for this patient before shifting her?
We have to check all her parameters that what is the level of her OHSs, whether it is mild, moderate, or severe. If it is severe, we have to take proper consent that she may require an ICU also. And
No, ma'am, only in the case of she has developed multiple follicles. Anything you would like to counsel her at your own center?
the only thing that she's not eligible for IUI, the thing is cancelled now.
pre
And
stimulation
Yes, ma'am.
counseling
We should
very
explain.
important for PMOS
We can offer her to cancel the cycle as well.
cancel
yeah.
obviously दैट इज अनदर थिंग सो वो हम क्वेश्चन नहीं ले रहे हम क्वेश्चन अभी शिफ्टिंग का ले रहे हैं कि वो डिसाइड हो गया सब कुछ ना हु शुड टेक द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी डॉक्टर रिचा प्लीज टेक दिस अनदर क्वेश्चन जल्दी जल्दी खत्म कर दो इसको You are muted.
Dr. Nikinj, this question is for you. Who should take the responsibility for the subsequent treatment of this patient?
So the clinicians at the ART level 2 should take the responsibility of further treatment, and for in such cases a proper MOU would be appropriate. अगर दोनों centers के बीच में MOU है तो वो appropriate रहेगा, so that a trigger timing can also be coordinated. So yes, the clinicians at level 2 would further take the responsibility.
Okay. So 3B इसी का एक second part खत्म करके and then we will finish this.
So for Dr. Preeti, this question is for you. Embryologist at this level 1 ART center has suggested the clinician that she knows everything and you can proceed with conventional IVF at your own level 1 center. So is this possible?
No, not at all, because the IVF must be done at the ART level 2 center only. So it is not allowed. That's why the consumables are also available according to law. In June 2026, the things that are required in the ERT, that is for the IVF, they are available only at the ERT 2 center.
So now, I think everybody is having this thing to get noticed that all these people who are supplying the media and disposable, they take your registration number and then
Yeah.
only they apply. So this is a new regulation which has come in 2026 that they should have, so that there will not be any misuse of this media and disposable to those center who are not registered. Okay,
Yeah.
this is something which is a very good, I think. For us also. So now, should we conclude?
Yeah.
Because there are.
I
We have very interesting cases lined up ahead.
So we'll take in part 2.
Yeah, it's a very interesting, session going on really. And whenever we go to any, zone, we realize the problem of different zones are different. And it was really nice interacting with your zone, Dr. Aradhna. And I wish we had more time to listen to you all. It was very interesting to listen to you all. So I would like to thank everyone, those who have stayed till the end. The discussion was really, this thing. And end up with this final word. See, we all wanted the act to be there. We all wanted the IVF to be a safe procedure for us. And in fact, this act makes us safe, the Surrogacy Act. And it also makes us safe as a clinician and as an embryologist. But what we were discussing is that there were certain things which could be thought of later in reforms, which the advocate Mohini Priya was talking about. So with this, we would want to end this session. Thank you
I
so
would
much.
like to add few things,
Yeah,
Dr. Niti, if you give me 5 minutes only.
sure,
Uh,
sure.
that we are very lucky that this ART, I mean, level 2 centers, we are not having so many penalties, or, most of the issues are, these are the like free of this thing, punishment. So they are only like some, a fine or something like that. But
Yeah,
there are few things like this advertisement. If you are advertising sex selection, that is penalized, and there is imprisonment 5 to 10 years. And this is non-compoundable, and it is a cognizable offense. So it's really important. Fine को तो छोड़ो, यहाँ तो आपको सीधा जेल होगा. And same is the sex selective ARTs we are doing. So always protect yourself, always avoid all these things. ये conversation ही मत करो patients के साथ. If they ask कि 3 लड़के आए मैडम आप लड़का दे दोगी, don't entertain these people. है ना, just उनको बोलो इनकी फीस वापस करो, आप तो जाओ, टाटा बाय बाय. It's very important. Abandonment and sale of embryo, this is another very important thing. किसी भी तरह के कोई भी पेशेंट अगर उसने डिस्कार्ड के लिए बोल दिया, यू हैव टू डिस्कार्ड दोज एम्ब्रियो. दीज आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. है ना, गिव देम रिमाइंडर अगेन एंड अगेन कि आपका पेमेंट नहीं आया, पेमेंट नहीं आया. एंड 90 days इज द लाइक अ लास्ट, आपने जो भी उसको मेल भेजा है, कुछ भी किया है ना, आफ्टर दैट यू शुड डिस्कार्ड दोज एम्ब्रियो. डोंट कीप एम्ब्रियोज जिसका कोई रखवाला नहीं है. And so the under ART and surrogacy, but the surrogacy law is really something very bad, because there are a lot of the things is non-compoundable offenses. They are like a cognizable and non-bailable also. So this is really something. तो जो surrogacy कर रहे हैं, I think hats off to them. The law doesn't punish bad intent actually. It punishes undocumented practice. So keep all the documents safe. ताले में लगा के, as Dr. Parag has said, I think मुझे इनका ये वर्ड बड़ा अच्छा लगा कि वो ताला लगा के रखने वाला, because you never know कि आपकी टीम में कौन ना who will be the mole जो कि आपका सारा गेम बिगाड़ देगा. So that is a very important thing, and this is the document compliance checklist. You should have these all displayed, valid registration certificate at various.
Jayashree is trying hard to open her eyes. Huh, Jayashree? You have
No,
to.
ma'am. No, ma'am. I'm really.
Jayashree is looking so tired. And
No,
must
ma'am.
have
All my
worked.
tiredness went away. So it was a very tiring day. But with these questions, all my sleep went away. I was like, "Ki, why these are stopping the cases? I really want to listen more." But
We will do it again. We will do it again with your chapter. We have such, people like Dr. Radha Gupta and everybody who are so, learned and experienced in your chapter. We will do it again. Dr. Aradhana, I think there is some problem with her, connection.
connection, I
Dr.
guess.
Aradhana,
Yeah.
some problem with her connection. So I think we can stop it here. Thank you, Dr. Radhana, and thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Priya Bhave in absentia. Convey my thanks to her also.
Yes, ma'am.
And thank you, all the panelists.
Thank
And
you,
thank you
ma'am.
to
Thank you,
Advocate
ma'am.
Mohini, and thank you, Advocate Divyanshu. You really waited till the end. We kept you waiting for the panel. And thank you, Dr. Parag. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, ma'am.
everyone. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.